It opens with the image of some crappy fighting game called Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok, shortened to Demrock, a title that shot to #1 worldwide upon release, ushering in a new era for VR gaming. Demrock dominated the global market, flourished, and won Game of the Year. This was the legendary title that once had over 100 million concurrent players. Its prominence gradually cooled. Demrock's ranking slowly declined over time, and it was scheduled to shut down its servers entirely soon. A group of players sat together around a campfire. In front of them were a few lines of notices from the game. Hello, this is Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok. The game will cease operation in 30 minutes. Do Hyun, also known as Kaiser, Demrock's top player, showed no expression as he read those lines. Beside him, Boris Sekmat muttered with some boredom. This damn game, I cursed it every day to crash, and now it actually is? Boris Sekmat, Demrock top 5. Sword Emperor frowned, unwilling, and replied, I feel the same as you. Aside from the sensory aspects, it was pretty fun. I don't get why it's shutting down. Sword Emperor, Demrock top 4. As he finished, Kudak added, fighting dragons and only getting bricks and blocks as drops. Of course it's crashing. Kudak, Demrock top 3. When he finished, Sword Emperor snapped back irritably. Do you always have to ruin the mood like that? Kudak avoided his gaze and teased in reply. Did I say something wrong? Sword Emperor frowned and grumbled on. I thought that mask made you look tacky. Turns out your way of speaking is awful too. Kudak's limits were reached. He puffed up and challenged. What? Want to solo me? This attitude made Sword Emperor so exasperated he exclaimed, truly nothing but a fighter. Their bickering was cut off by Do Hyun calling out from afar, but it was followed by a weary smile from him. I do feel a bit sorry. Boris Sekmat laughed in agreement. No wonder. You're the one who grinds this game the hardest. It's a shame, really, he added with a sigh. Every time I watch you fight, I think you're being chased or something. Kudak shrugged and added amiably. But fate is fair. Aren't you the unluckiest one among us? Boris Sekmat gave a crooked smile and replied, not even a legendary skill, but still top of the server. If you were a bit luckier, we probably wouldn't be at the same table, right? Old stories were recalled through Kudak's retelling. 10 consecutive enhancement failures, and then shouting the world is crushing me. You had to see that to get a kick out of it. Boris Sekmat concluded with an observation. Come to think of it, he's the worst boss. The story made the whole group burst into laughter. This time Sword Emperor chimed in for fun. The unluckiest person I've ever met, hands down. After they had finished talking, Demrock's final notice appeared. Hello, this is Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok. As scheduled, today the game will officially shut down. Thank you for accompanying us to the final moment. Their avatars began to disappear. Boris Sekmat smiled and offered a final farewell. You all worked hard. Sword Emperor glanced away and remarked, now it's truly over. Meanwhile, Kudak smiled brighter and made them a promise. See you in a better game. Do Hyun stood still from start to finish, watching his friends leave. The fire still burned, even growing stronger. He said nothing as he was the last to disappear, the game's light fading away. The VR headset was set on the table like a full stop. Demrock servers were officially closed, and so 2 years passed. A new day began in this modern city. Buses were speeding along the main roads. On one bus, a soldier nodded off beside 2 young men when an exclamation broke out. That control is insane, huh? Young-jun glanced at his phone and commented, look at this, soloing the demon lord all by himself. He snorted, eyes never leaving the screen. Yeah, among the execution branch's exterminators, she's still the strongest. This time Jimin beside him added with sparkling eyes, forget the organization, I prefer the Empress. Her presence and lone wolf style are like a solitary wolf. He looked at Kot's phone next to him and added, now I guess no one can beat those 2, right? Young-jun lazily asked, isn't there one more person? Jimin couldn't help but ask who. His attitude changed completely when he mentioned his idol. The strongest back in Demrock, the top one. Jimin made a sound of recognition. Oh right, there's Kaiser too. But after the game shut down, he disappeared too. I wonder what he's up to now. At that, Do Hyun beside them only gave a sarcastic smile. It had been 2 years since Demrock servers closed. Times changed, and the hottest game now was Demrock's successor, God of Savior, shortened to GOES, just like its predecessor. In this game, the player base grew very quickly. The game's content had been greatly improved. Many new races and classes were introduced. It was a world of limitless freedom. A more sinister smile crossed Do Hyun's face as he thought to himself, wait, GOES, the Rancor is back. Song Do-hyun, former Dimrock Top 1, Kaiser, had just been discharged with the rank of Army Sergeant. He was headed for a high-rise apartment building. Just after arriving home, Do-hyun eagerly called out, "Capsule? Where's the capsule?" His sister, seeing him, could only exclaim, "What? You're home." She and their mother watched Do-hyun rush past like a gust of wind and added, "Right away looking for the capsule." Huh? Their mother's half-joking complaint floated after him. "When you were little, it was always mommy, searching for me all the time. Now grown up, kids don't need anyone anymore." But Do-hyun didn't hear any of it. He was busy surveying what lay before him. In the center of the room was a gaming pod. This is it. I've only seen it on live streams. A VR capsule. After a year and a half in the military, I saved up bit by bit and finally own one. His hand slid over the pod as he kept exclaiming inwardly, "This feel, this curve." Do-hyun wasted no time and quickly opened it. Once settled inside, he looked around and remarked, "Even though it's used, the cushioning is pretty good." Wasting no more seconds, Do-hyun grabbed the helmet and eagerly declared, "Then let's log in." The connection went smoothly. The game's notification sound, scanning iris, confirming ID card. Quickly, Do-hyun finished. ID confirmed. Synchronization complete. The game's icon appeared, along with a message. "God of Savior, welcome to Adventure Paradise." He appeared in a brightly lit hall where lines of instructions flashed. "Please create a character." Do-hyun stared blankly at his reflection in the mirror. "Is this my character?" He scratched his head and muttered inwardly, "Looks way too much like a soldier." But when a bunch of hairstyles flickered up before him, he felt annoyed. Why so many random styles? What a pain, just pick one. The system continued. "Please set a nickname." He considered it carefully. "A nickname, huh?" A corner of Do-hyun's mouth twitched when a familiar name came to mind. Kaiser. Character setup completed with a notification. Character created. "Hello, Kaiser." Character setup completed with a notification. Character created. "Hello, Kaiser. Your hashtag is hashtag Kaiser 312.543. Transferring to the tutorial area, he was greeted by a scene of devastation. Flames raging all around. Flames licked from every side. This was the blood-soaked battlefield of Arlen from the past. The moment he spawned here, Do-hyun remarked in amazement, "Is this a VR game?" Notification panels kept appearing. "Please choose a weapon." He read and thought to himself, "A weapon." Glancing over familiar items, he commented, "Nothing special here either." In the end, he chose by instinct. "I'll pick the one I'm used to." Holding the weapon, he thought with satisfaction, "Since Damrock, I always used a sword." No sooner had he finished choosing than a voice called from behind. "Hey you." The figure of a man came running up in a panic. He followed with a demanding question, "What are you doing here?" Captain Charlie of the cavalry grabbed Do-hyun's hand, pulling him along urgently. "Hurry, we have to move now." Fear was written across his face. The other mercenaries are already engaged. As he moved with Charlie, another notification appeared. Formed a party with Captain Charlie of the cavalry. The two ran along the city wall and then entered the castle together. Before Do-hyun lay a pile of corpses. Charlie scanned the area with a grimace and muttered, "So he finally allied with those monsters? If the rumors are true, he signed a pact with that creature." His tone grew serious as he added, "If we don't stop it now, that thing will descend." Charlie then led Do-hyun along. "Quick, this way is the fastest." He said nothing and just followed cautiously behind. But as soon as they stepped through the door, an arrow shot toward them from afar. Charlie froze in his tracks and glared ahead in annoyance. On the other side, a horde of monsters had appeared. "Quickly," Charlie declared. "They've swarmed this far? Let me handle them. Open a path for you." Before he could finish, Do-hyun lunged forward with his sword. One of the monsters roared in fury. His gaze didn't waver. He focused solely on the battle ahead. Seeing the monster swing its weapon, Charlie shouted a warning. "Danger!" Meanwhile, Do-hyun simply pivoted on his heel, and the monster's attack went off course. It was so stunned that it widened its eyes. Now, it was Do-hyun's turn to draw his sword and counterattack. He delivered a clean, cane-sweet slash. Not a single expression changed on Do-hyun's face. Riding the momentum, he surged forward. The monsters, seeing their comrade felled in an instant, were thrown into confusion. A few others, reckless and furious, charged on heedless of death. They attacked but failed once again. Do-hyun coiled his leg to prepare a counterstrike. His knee smashed straight into its jaw. The monster groaned in pain. Seeing their comrades defeated, The surviving monsters shuddered. They were so frightened their faces went pale. But Du Hyun showed no mercy or healing for anyone. He charged forward powerfully and delivered the finishing blow. Only then did Du Hyun step slow. The remaining monsters finally fell. He shook his sword to flick the blood from its blade. Then Du Hyun smiled in satisfaction, thinking, haven't fought in a while, so I was a bit nervous, still not bad. He hopped around a bit to feel his body. Actually, I feel lighter than before. At that, Charlie gasped, my goodness, unbelievable. You single-handedly took down 5 monsters. Notifications appeared as his expression changed. Captain Charlie of the Cavalry is impressed by your ability. Charlie's affinity has increased. Amazing. Du Hyun himself was a bit puzzled by the phrase. Affinity? Notifications appeared as his expression changed. Captain Charlie of the Cavalry is impressed by your ability. Charlie's affinity has increased. Amazing. Du Hyun himself was a bit puzzled by the phrase. Affinity. On his side, Charlie was also making his own calculations. An unknown mercenary with such skill. What if this young man is the hero who only appears in legends? Notification panels kept appearing. Captain Charlie of the Cavalry is deeply moved by your battle. Charlie's affinity has risen sharply. Charlie's affinity has reached its maximum. Now he completely trusts you. Even if you do something wrong, just claim innocence and he'll believe you. Then a mission summary followed. Received new in-game title. Person whose affinity reached max level. New to the game, but already maxed affinity. Rare rank. Title awarded to players who reach max affinity with an NPC during the tutorial. Effect. Affinity with NPCs increases faster. All stats +2. Reading this, Du Hyun replied with interest. Not bad at all. Charlie stepped closer and said, thanks to you, things are much easier. He then pointed to the door ahead and explained, if we just defeat the Dark Archmage inside, we can end this battle with victory. Before they could move, the surrounding space shifted. Oh my god, have they begun summoning? Lightning appeared. Seeing things go awry, Charlie immediately issued orders. I'll handle this side. You go in and stop that summoner. His body glowed as he continued. If it's you, I can entrust this with peace of mind. A benediction was offered to Du Hyun. May the blessing of Saint Arlen descend upon this hero. Without another word, Charlie dashed forward, leaving Du Hyun behind. Du Hyun froze for a moment. Do I have to go in? He recalled the videos he'd seen earlier and wondered, but in the tutorial videos, Charlie went in first. Very quickly an explanation came. They say the story changes depending on player actions, but does it change this much? Du Hyun stopped before the door as a demonic aura surged outward from it. A notification appeared. Only one person may enter. If they die, the seal will be broken and all negative boss debuffs will be removed. Do you want to enter? Reading this, he murmured again. Even the tutorial shows notifications. However, Du Hyun realized once more that this was a hidden feature. To explain, a hidden feature is a game mechanic concealed from players. It only activates or appears under special conditions, and sometimes grants extremely rare rewards. The system asked again for his decision. Do you really want to enter? A devilish smile crossed Du Hyun's face. Then there's no reason to avoid it. As soon as he chose, the gate opened to welcome him with screams and the sight of someone being devoured. Why is this happening? I summoned you, so you should obey me. The corner of the spectral dragon's mouth was smeared with red blood. Du Hyun's eyes widened in shock. Drops of fresh blood dripped from its body. Standing before him was the bound iron blood dragon species. Title: Name Boss, Legendary Tier. Danger Level: Unknown. Species: Dragon. Trait: Sealed. Description: a spectral dragon from the abyss bearing the title Iron Blood, currently restrained by chains. Its full power is sealed, severely limiting its movements. Du Hyun's mouth dropped open in disbelief. A legendary tier boss. Speaking of God of Savior, the Lord of Salvation, that game borrowed heavily from Pinreg. What it copied was Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok. One of those elements is the ranking system. That ranking system includes tiers like Epic and Legendary. The notable thing is that this ranking rule also applies to raid monsters. The most special among them are the monsters uniquely granted proper names. And right now, the Ironblood Spectral Dragon is chained. It is a named raid boss. The Spectral Dragon lifted its head to study Du Hyun, then suddenly let out a roar. The force of that roar was directed straight at him. Notification panels flooded the screen. You just heard the roar of the bound Iron Blood Dragon. Your physical capabilities are reduced due to the overwhelming presence of this entity. Movement speed reduced by 20%. Attack speed reduced by 20%. Defense decreased by 30%. Magic resistance decreased by 25%. Do Hyun grimaced in irritation and muttered, "Are you kidding me? Is this some kind of sick joke?" He studied the spectral dragon's body and wondered. Its stats should be sealed. But does that really make a difference? Do Hyun's gaze dropped to its feet. If that massive claw grazed him, it would be an instant kill. Still, he tried to steady himself. "I'm used to this kind of chaos." Things like this happened all the time back in Demrock. Memories of fighting in the old game resurfaced. Every time it came down to a single decision, the aura around Do Hyun shifted. 1 live, 2 die. He suddenly opened his eyes as he sensed something amiss. The spectral dragon struck from somewhere, forcing Do Hyun to step back to avoid it. His feet slid along the ground before coming to a stop. Do Hyun took advantage of the motion and slashed at its leg. Do Hyun took advantage of the motion and slashed at its leg. When the dragon's shadow passed overhead, Do Hyun spun and quickly retreated out of its attack range. However, after the counter, Do Hyun himself was knocked backward. His brows knit. Do Hyun watched the dragon's health bar and evaluated silently. 120 HP, 999, 880, lost 120 HP after only 2 hits. Then he let out a self-mocking sigh. Exactly like the forum said. This difficulty is garbage, and they kept telling each other it was absurd to try to defeat a named boss. Are you insane? That's impossible. It wasn't made to be slain by you. As he kept attacking, Do Hyun recalled those comments. Don't even mention the Iron Blood Dragon or whatever that thing is. It scares the hell out of me when it's real. Others also wondered, wait, is there no way to kill it? I see someone dealing damage to it. No way, it's hopeless. Not even Annihilator could take it down, let alone. Do Hyun kept swinging his sword and dealing damage despite the offhand chatter. I think the devs just made it take damage for realism. Wow, you actually thought about attacking it. I just stand there until I die. His efforts quickly sparked a new wave of discussion. Channel Zhong? What the hell is that? Its name just changed, right? The decline of intellect. What is happening? Oh my god, wait. Did it actually change? Do their names auto-change like that? A flood of comments poured in. Game bug? No way. It's run by an AI way smarter than Alpha. So what's the reason? Don't tell me someone actually killed it. Huh? Really? How on earth did a level 1 person kill the boss? You mean someone just defeated a raid boss that even Annihilator couldn't beat? Who is it? The sword in Do Hyun's hand drove into the dragon's foot again, cutting it deep enough to make it bleed. The dragon let out a wailing roar, and its massive body collapsed, limp. Then notification panels appeared. You have defeated the bound Iron Blood Dragon. You are the first to defeat a boss in the tutorial. You single-handedly defeated a named boss of legendary tier. This feat will be recorded in the annals. The reward for you is... Do Hyun was panting from the exhausting fight. Unbelievable, he muttered in annoyance. Truly a nightmare of a monster. Do Hyun pulled his sword out of it and mumbled. The first one, huh? Do Hyun pulled his sword out of it and mumbled. The first one, huh? Memories of his old friends crossed Do Hyun's mind. Those damn devs. This is considered beatable? What trash game? Screw it, damn them. A smile tugged at his lips as he wondered. I wonder how they're doing now. Notification panels appeared and caught Do Hyun's attention. You have received the title First Dragon Slayer. Talents will be formed based on your playstyle and achievements. A series of skills unlocked. The Weapon Master talent has appeared. The Latent Dragon talent has appeared. The Conqueror talent has appeared. The Hero talent has manifested. The Trial Conqueror talent has appeared. The necessary conditions have been met. The unique tier talent Eyes of Truth has manifested. Reading this, Do Hyun couldn't help but wonder, what is this? Why did I get so many talents? He waved his hand at the notification as if to confirm it while thinking. Usually in the tutorial you can only get one. Speaking of talents, this is one of the distinctive systems in God of Save. They range from exploration supports like Guide to combat focus types like Swordmaster. The higher your achievements, the higher the talent rank you receive. Reading on, Do Hyun couldn't help but exclaim, this is insane. All stats boosted, Swordmaster effects for every weapon, spatial tracking and immunity to negative effects. His eyes lit up as he continued looking down. There was even, Do Hyun focused on one single line, another unique tier talent. Eyes of Truth, unique tier. Effect, see through everything that is hidden. The more he read, the more delighted he became. Weapon Master, Hero, Conqueror, all excellent talents, but not unique. Do Hyun mumbled to himself confidently. Even if no one holds them all at once, plenty of players will surely possess at least one of them. Then he turned his attention to one thought. But Eyes of Truth is unique. It means it's the sole copy in the entire world. After mulling it over, a smile spread across Do Hyun's face. I just hit the jackpot. One unique talent and 5 regular ones. His profile appeared. Title: First Dragon Slayer. Tier: Legendary. Description: deals extra damage to raid monsters. Passive: grants +5 to all stats when devouring named monsters. Applies to raid bosses and stacks. Stats increase by 10. On top of that overpowered title, it felt like Do Hyun was being bathed in honey. Oh my god, this is amazing, so sweet. I didn't expect someone as unlucky as me to get an opportunity like this. However, his thoughts were interrupted by a sound from outside. On that side, Charlie also turned toward the door, unbelieving. He stammered a cry, then slowly took a few steps forward. On this side, Do Hyun was still dazed. When he entered, he finally spoke. I definitely heard the roar of a beast. Did you really kill that creature? He looked at Charlie and nodded in acknowledgement. Ah, I guess so. Charlie stared at him in astonishment, then exclaimed, and you still stand here without so much as a scratch. What kind of master are you? Do Hyun was about to explain. Ah, well it's... But the man hurriedly raised a hand to stop him. No, who you are or where you come from no longer matters. With the respect of a knight, Charlie placed a hand on his chest and declared, True heroes always appear in times of chaos. I am certain that your presence will become a beacon that brings great change to this tumultuous world. And I, Charlie, believe that with all my heart. Charlie even dropped to his knees. O mighty hero, I beg you, might you grant this humble knight the honor of becoming your sword. A system notification appeared explaining the situation. Charlie, captain of the Castle Knights, wishes to swear fealty to you. If accepted, Charlie will relinquish his title as captain and become a subordinate of Kaiser. The master will receive all corresponding benefits from him. Do Hyun's eyes widened. He mentally thought, You've got to be kidding me. The system then clarified. However, since he died long ago, you will not receive any benefits, even if you become his master. Reading those lines eases confusion somewhat. Right, this tutorial is just a reenactment of the past. Do Hyun nodded slightly and replied, So this is only a ceremonial event? Fine, I accept. Charlie brightened at those words, and additional notifications appeared. You have accepted Charlie's oath. You will forever be the master in Captain Charlie's memory. The battle recorded in the annals as the Arlen Castle tragedy will now be remembered as the final victory in Charlie's mind. He will rest in peace and look forward to a better future. Do Hyun silently observed what lay before him. Rest in peace, huh? A light suddenly appeared with a prompt. You will soon be taken to the Pantheon. The blue light formed a gateway. At that moment, Charlie from behind spoke up. My lord, his question was full of anticipation. Where is our next destination? Do Hyun turned back and thought to himself. Our next destination? He smiled and explained. After all, this is a harsh world. His expression grew serious as he declared. So we'll go wherever we need to go. Charlie's eyes brightened at those words. Anywhere we need to go? The blue light enveloped them both. The system continued to announce, preparing to teleport. You will be taken to the Pantheon in 5 seconds. Suddenly, Charlie thrust an item into Do Hyun's hands. My lord, please accept this. Do Hyun looked at it puzzled. What is this? The system's countdown continued. You have received an item. A satisfied smile was on Charlie's lips. Thank you, my lord. My lord, please save. Teleporting to the Pantheon. The scene before Do Hyun shifted rapidly, and information appeared. Welcome to the Pantheon. This is where you choose a deity and decide the path you will follow. We wish you to receive the protection of the gods. Do Hyun looked around with a blank expression. So this was the famed Pantheon Temple from the rumors. Rather than a lofty name Pantheon, people usually know this place as a hub. It's more accurate to call it a card-drawing center, a distinctive feature of God as Savior that has made players laugh and cry. This is where the divine draw begins. You may serve only one god, and your profession will depend entirely on the deity you choose. Moreover, since everything in God of Savior is clearly ranked, the gods also have their own tiered classifications. Mythic gods, heroic gods, and legendary gods. Mythic gods are entities that became gods thanks to tales passed down by people since ancient times. Heroic gods are humans who were hailed as heroes in the past and later ascended to the pantheon to join the ranks of the divine. The highest tier is legendary gods, those who forge a legend themselves. For example, Zeus in Greco-Roman myth or Odin in Norse myth belong to this group. Naturally, the later tiers carry greater prestige. At that moment, system messages appeared. Each card conceals a different god. Please choose the deity you wish to serve. Do Hyun, seeing the sheer number of cards, exclaimed, "Oh wow, there really are so many choices." He decided to close his eyes and pick randomly. His luck was always terrible anyway, so there was no point in being greedy. Unexpectedly, among the pile, a single card shone differently. Why was that card glowing a brilliant gold? At the same time, a skill activated. The Eyes of Truth skill has been activated. Do Hyun's eyes widened as he murmured the words he'd read to see through what was hidden. Then he exclaimed, "This ability is beyond imagination." He looked at the glowing card and began calculating possibilities. If this is real, from now on, every card pack I open will be a sure win. Memories of playing with teammates returned. How was your bad luck so pitiful? Everything else is fine, but your luck. Recalling that stung a bit. I used to just laugh it off, but did they know how bitter it really made me feel inside? His gaze fixed on a glowing card. Now that he had this, returning to the ranks of the leaders was entirely possible. Still, despite his pride, Do Hyun reminded himself, stay calm. His hand slowly reached forward without hesitation. I want to aim for anything but the gold cards. And grab that card. Its information quickly appeared. You have drawn the legendary god, Lone Blade Sword God. Do you wish to choose this deity? A triumphant smile curved Do Hyun's lips. A legendary god. With a start like this. But then red background messages appeared. The aptitude to become an apostle has not yet formed. You cannot become this god's apostle. Please draw a card again. Do Hyun's mood immediately sank. What the hell is going on? I can't become an apostle. The system again reported that the god page was baffled by this unexpected situation. He calculated cautiously. The vessel to contain the power hasn't been created yet. Do Hyun had to admit, I've never heard of or seen a case this strange before. Finally, a light bulb went off in his head. Wait a sec. A vessel to hold the power. Do Hyun remembered past events. Usually, after a player was slain by the devil dragon, a goddess would appear to deliver a prophecy. His thoughts continued. But because I defeated that dragon, the goddess never appeared. So could all this trouble be because I never received the goddess's enlightenment? Then Do Hyun opened his status panel. Player, Kaiser level, 1 goodwill, match from the start title, First Dragon Slayer. Strength, 5 plus 18, agility, 5 plus 18, stamina, 5 plus 18, perception, 5 plus 18. There was nothing there. He quickly noticed the difference. At the profession slot, where apostle should have been written, it only displayed the 2 words adventurer. A difficult problem presented itself. Damn it. So what am I supposed to do now? Do Hyun looked up again. If things stayed like this, those other cards would be worthless. They just tell me I lack aptitude anyway. All his earlier excitement popped like a bubble. Do you know how long I've waited for this moment? Do Hyun groaned and held his head, trying to remind himself. What should I do now? If I delete this character and recreate, I'll have to wait a full 60 days. However, shortly after, he noticed something else. His gaze fixed on a red card lying on the ground. Red? He touched it and thought to himself, I've never even heard of red tier cards. Information about the card immediately appeared. You have drawn a hidden card. You have chosen Haycr, the last forgotten adventurer. You possess the aptitude of an adventurer. You have officially become Haycr's apostle. Do Hyun's eyes lit at the card's red glow. I'm certain this is a secret piece. System messages continued as red light slowly enveloped him. You have been promoted to the last adventurer. You have received the skills of this class. Profession, the last adventurer. Description, in early times humanity were all adventurers. They were masters of Avtartal, stronger than anyone, wielding power that even threatened the gods until they perished in vain. Since that fateful day, humanity was defeated, and I am the last surviving adventurer. A series of lengthy info entries followed. Innate talent. Adventurer. Adventurers are freedom seekers, masters and companions of Avtartal. They carry explosive potential. Effect. You can learn and use any skill without being limited by profession. Reading this, Do Hyun could only exclaim, "This is insane." He thought with satisfaction, no longer bound by a class, able to use all skills and then find ways to develop. Thus I can build my own move set, selecting only the most useful skills to employ. Do Hyun quickly mapped out a path. Combined with the eyes of truth, he was sure he'd obtain exactly the techniques he wanted. What if I pair this with a weapon master talent? He even dreamed of the future. Then I'll truly become omnipotent. No weakness will remain. The system continued. Class transfer complete. You'll be teleported to Avtartal shortly. Throughout it, he kept reminding himself. With just this start, the system countdown sounded. 3. A proud smile curved Do Hyun's lips. Well worth trying again. Light was beginning to cover him. 2. To climb to the rank of a top player. Avtartal region. Arday, the city of beginnings, filled with light and bustle. Everyone had their own goals. Oh man, this poll was a total failure. Be patient a bit longer. There's still plenty to do in Gatos, even if you're not a combat class. Earlier on the street, two figures were walking together. One of them commented wearily, "Today we don't seem to be finding anyone promising at all. Talent seekers." As for talent seekers, they're officers responsible for recruiting new members for guilds. But to players, they're no different from annoying cult recruiters asking, "Do you believe?" The gray-haired young man grumbled on, "I need to fill my quota this month, or that damned manager will start throwing a fit." At that, the black-haired one looked over and said, "Hey, look at that youth over there." They observed Do Hyun and offered an assessment. "He looks like a complete mess, doesn't he? That guy's spirit seems totally crushed." Finally, the two decided to move on. "Let's go. There's no point recruiting bratty kids like that." In truth, Do Hyun was reading the lines of information displayed before him. Necklace of blood and covenant. A pledged piece of jewelry forged from Charlie's blood. Only descendants of Sir Arlen may possess the commander's heirloom. Item rarity, heroic. Level requirement, none. Restriction, only for the owner of Charlie. Special option, defense and magic resistance increase each time a certain amount of experience is accumulated. Unlocks at level 35. His mouth fell open as he thought. Amazing, this is a heroic tier item. Even the stat lines are extraordinary. Once again, Do Hyun felt like he was bathed in honey. This feels so sweet. It's truly wonderful. However, a notification appeared and cut his excitement short. Notice, Goblin Cleanup Quest. Do Hyun read it aloud. A goblin extermination quest? He wasn't the only one to receive the alert. Many others got the same notification. Goblin Cleanup. Rank, normal. Description, a commission from Dante, a veteran hunter in Arday. Kill goblins, 0 of 40. Reward, 80 silver and some experience. Risk, Dante's goodwill may decrease. Time limit, 24 hours. Each person reacted differently. This is a hunting quest. Great, jackpot. No need to waste time standing in line. From afar, Dante stood on a high platform, waving excitedly. "Then I'm counting on you. Dante the hunter asks you to purge those stupid goblins for me." As soon as the quest appeared, people began forming parties. Looking for teammates to form a party. Anyone want to do this monster hunt together? Seeking party, tank, DPS, support to grind up to level 12. Do Hyun looked around and carefully assessed the situation. It seemed everyone was joining parties to handle the task. From behind, a group of 3 approached him with an offer. "Sorry to bother you. Our group plans to grind quickly to level 12. Do you want to come with us?" Their faces broke into friendly smiles. Play together to earn extra bonus points for grouping. Let's go hunt them together. Do Hyun considered the offer very seriously. Forming a party? That made a lot of sense. He also understood that hunting becomes much easier with teammates, and with the bonus experience, group hunting was almost mandatory. Do Hyun didn't hesitate and quickly agreed. "Sounds good. Let's form a party." The party was successfully formed. Party. Shield level 1. Mahanchity level 1. Yubingong level 1. Kaiser level 1. Seeing Do Hyun's name, Top Shield quickly remarked, "You're a Kaiser fan too?" Mian asked curiously. "Who is this Kaiser?" Kind Yubingong beside him explained. That was someone who once held the number 1 spot back in Demrock. Her eyes brightened as she understood. "Oh, I see. So you must be a die-hard fan of Kaiser." He nodded in agreement. "Exactly. You even named yourself Kaiser." From start to finish, Do Hyun could only smile awkwardly and stayed silent. Their morale rose. "So shall we set off now?" Let's rush to level 12 as fast as we can. Let's go. He reluctantly followed along. Very quickly combat broke out. He inflicted a debuff on the Green Goblin. The Green Goblin was stunned for 1 second. He successfully launched an attack and turned back to signal. I just landed the base move. Everyone, focus your attacks on. Yubingong fired arrows while calling out. Mian caught on and immediately attacked together. The two friends dealt damage together and quickly defeated that goblin. You have successfully slain a Green Goblin. The rest, seeing their comrade fall, were half panicked and half furious. They decided to charge forward recklessly. But once again, Shield successfully acted as the team's shield. Yubingong's voice rang out. Block the hit. Mian followed up. Brother with the shield, go. Shield used his strength to hold off the Green Goblins and shouted, Finish it quickly. However, the two remaining members hesitated. Wait a moment. My skill is still on cooldown. At that moment, the silhouette of another Green Goblin appeared from behind. Shield had to gape at this. Its face spread a triumphant grin, sure that this flanking would succeed. However, there was activity on the ground as well. Du Hyun dashed forward and felled that Green Goblin with a single slash. You have just slain a Green Goblin. Shield looked visibly astonished. Yubingong and Mian wore the same expression. Du Hyun landed lightly after killing that Green Goblin, but the next instant he lunged forward again. Then Du Hyun slid through the goblins, triggering several notifications. You have slain a Green Goblin. You have slain a Green Goblin. The party members, seeing this slaughter, were visibly excited. Great job. Well done. Kaiser is truly number one. After finishing up, Du Hyun sheathed his sword. Shield appeared from behind with a smile. You all worked hard. Well done. You're really skilled. He even began to dream aloud. If we keep this up, we'll soon reach. Before he finished, Shield hurriedly warned, Kair is behind you. A pack of Green Goblins had appeared at the forest edge. They all wore ferocious expressions. Seeing the numerical disadvantage, Shield suggested retreat. We can't face that. Run away for now. However, Du Hyun once again charged forward. The Green Goblins on that side happily surged forward. He leapt high, preparing to engage them in close quarters. In Du Hyun's eyes now was killing intent directed at them. The forest that had been tranquil a moment ago. The next moment, it was stirred by the loud clash of attacks. The scene then reverted to the past. Borisek Matt asked in puzzlement, Why do you always rush into such risky battles? Are you hot-headed, or is there something wrong with you? A reckless person will sooner or later taste defeat. To that question, Du Hyun answered nonchalantly. Reckless? What nonsense are you talking about? He began to explain. Look, when your HP is in the danger zone and a boss-level monster suddenly appears, charging straight at it isn't overly crazy, is it? But he was cut off by another question from Du Hyun. But the result was that I defeated it. Borisek Matt fell silent for a moment before agreeing. Well, that's undeniable. You're not wrong, but the action was truly dangerous. Back in the present, a pack of Green Goblins stood before Du Hyun. It was thoughtless. He looked at them and silently agreed. Maybe so. There's no reason to do that. Risking your life, pointlessly just to fight, is unnecessary. At that moment, Shield quickly turned with the intention to retreat. We don't have the strength to handle them. I'm pulling back. However, Du Hyun charged forward. Kaiser, he thought to himself. But I've never fought blindly. The Green Goblins happily surged toward him, and the two sides quickly clashed. Du Hyun's eyes flashed red. I fight simply because I'm sure I will win. The forest, which had been peaceful, was stirred the next instant. You have just used the skill crush. Du Hyun relentlessly attacked the Green Goblins. System notifications appeared without pause. A critical strike has been landed. You have successfully defeated a Green Goblin. From the loot distribution, Kaiser received a Green Goblin hide. Mid-fight, he glanced back. Only a single poisoned Green Goblin remained. Du Hyun's feet changed direction accordingly. Then he targeted them to attack. I believe I can do it. Sweet. Backward slashing sword arcs were launched in succession. The poisoned Green Goblin prepared to ambush once more. Du Hyun was cutting down its allies when a thrown dagger flew in. The skill momentum stance was activated. The talent overcome was activated. Du Hyun's vision was enhanced. He easily caught the thrown dagger. The Green Goblin witnessing this was so shocked it gaped. Du Hyun directly rushed to attack it. Then his foot slid a long trail across the ground. Because another Green Goblin stood before Du Hyun, eager to charge forward. It gritted its teeth and swung its club at Du Hyun. His eyes glowed red. and with a single strike, Du Hyun easily defeated the Green Goblin. System messages appeared. Thanks to the mastery of weapons talent, all equipment restrictions have been removed. Under the effect of the adventurer trait, you can use the dagger's basic skill. Stab into the opening. A satisfied smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Watch this. His offhand changed posture and drew a dagger. Then Du Hyun plunged the dagger into the Green Goblin. You have used the skill stab into the opening. You hit the enemy's weak point. A critical hit was registered. He had just slain this one and now faced another. The weapons of both sides collided. Du Hyun successfully knocked the club out of this Green Goblin's hand. The Mastery of Weapons trait removes restrictions when using equipment. The Adventure talent allows you to use the dagger's basic skill, Swing Strike. In the blink of an eye, he was already in front of it. The Green Goblin showed a look of horror. That was the moment it had to meet its death. Du Hyun plunged the dagger into it while disarming it, and he used that very club to finish off the goblin. He used the skill Swing Strike. System messages appeared in succession. Your weapon mastery level has increased. Your weapon skill is now at level 2. Your dagger proficiency has increased. Dagger mastery is now level 2. Your sword handling has improved. Sword mastery has reached level 3. This seems pretty solid. Looking over the battlefield he created, Du Hyun thought to himself, I thought I'd only learn skills without restrictions, but I didn't expect to be able to use them immediately like this. His face lit up with excitement. This really exceeds what I expected. Behind them, Shield was still watching. He could hardly believe what was happening. What the hell is going on? This is impossible. The truth was obvious. Even an experienced party would struggle to hunt an entire pack of goblins like that. Shield continued to watch Du Hyun, but did he clear them all by himself? His name caught his eye. Kaiser. Shield wondered in panic. I really can't believe it. Could this actually be Kaiser from Demrock? But then he hurriedly denied it. No, that definitely can't be. After all, everyone knew he had been a prodigious expert who disappeared from the scene for 2 years. What the hell is Kaiser doing here now? Since Demrock closed, no one had heard any news of him. And now he just happens to show up in our group today? This makes no sense. The more Shield thought about it, the more puzzled he became. So what exactly is this guy? Meanwhile, Du Hyun was busy enjoying his victory. Ah, wow, amazing. Fantastic. His somewhat deranged expression made Shield uneasy. He seems a bit crazy, doesn't he? A blue light suddenly appeared. Du Hyun watched as the Green Goblins slowly dissolved and quickly realized. It seems everything will disappear except for the dropped weapons. He didn't worry much about that. After all, he had removed weapon restrictions and even used skills, so this was enough for now. Du Hyun then requested to open his status panel. His information appeared almost immediately. Player, Kaiser, level 4, HP, 300/350, Mana, 250, Stamina, 230/240. Class, Ultimate Adventurer, Apostle of Hasiyar. Title, First Dragon Slayer. Maximum affinity from the start. Strength, 5+18. Agility, 5+20. Constitution, 5+19. Perception, 5+18. Mana, 5 Unspent points, 0. I leveled up 3 times from just one hunt. Du Hyun leisurely examined the info panel. Although I'm not restricted to any weapon type, my core is still sword use. I'll add 9 points to strength, 8 to agility, and put the rest into perception. He calculated inwardly. The other stats are temporarily boosted by the titles and Charlie's necklace anyway. An exclamation from behind caught his attention. Oh my god, Kaiser. That performance was absolutely terrifying. The party members admired in turn. I'm officially your hardcore fan now. Hey Kaiser, you're number 1. Shield couldn't help but ask. At this level of power, are you really that legendary Kaiser? Yubingong beside him hurriedly added. Come on, that guy hasn't been active for a long time. How could he suddenly reappear like this? However, he still defended his view. But after seeing him fight with my own eyes, that's the most reasonable explanation. The others somewhat agreed. He really does have the bearing of a flesh and blood Kaiser, doesn't he? They kept praising Du Hyun. That was amazing. If you said you were Kaiser for real, I'd totally believe you. He merely smiled wryly but thought to himself. Poor me, but I really am Kaiser. And a question was raised. Hey Kaiser, which legendary god did you get power from? Your damage was insane. Du Hyun modestly replied again. It's all thanks to my talents. And I also got lucky with the title. The more they heard, the more admiring they became. You even have a title? Aren't you about to become a ranked top player? I should befriend you right away. The party chatted for a while longer. Then Shield suggested, all right, it seems my HP has recovered. Shall we continue hunting? Yubingong's spirit rose accordingly. Why don't we casually take down 10 more? Seeing them so excited, Du Hyun agreed. Good idea, Yubingong declared loudly. Let's move out, Shield brothers. We got Big Bro Kaiser with us. Mian eagerly agreed. Let's go. Only Du Hyun's gaze changed, as a voice from the past unconsciously echoed. Hurry up. Earlier, Kudak and Borisekmat had noisily discussed between themselves. But first we need to gather necessary items. After all, Kaiser will handle everything. He's an expert. The Sword Emperor was annoyed by that attitude. Hey, we're ranked players too, you know. Kudak shot back. You A-ranked player and arrogant. The Sword Emperor grew angrier. What? Who are you talking about? Earlier, Kudak and Borisekmat had noisily discussed between themselves. But first we need to gather necessary items. After all, Kaiser will handle everything. He's an expert. The Sword Emperor was annoyed by that attitude. Hey, we're ranked players too, you know. Kudak shot back. You A-ranked player and arrogant. The Sword Emperor grew angrier. What? Who are you talking about? Unexpectedly, another info panel appeared before him. Urgent quest. Mutated goblin blood. Rarity, rare. Description. This quest was commissioned by Kaz, an alchemist who has lived for centuries. Recently, he has been quietly observing the mutated goblins and seems to have discovered something. Collect fresh blood from a mutated goblin warrior dwelling in the caves of Arde Forest. Eliminate mutated goblin warrior, 0 of 1. Mutated goblin warrior blood, 0/1. Completion reward, 1 gold, a certain amount of experience points, and a silver ring crafted by Kalda himself. Failure penalty. Kaz's affinity toward you may decrease. Time limit. None. Du Hyun's expression shifted. A mutated goblin warrior. Du Hyun's party quickly arrived before a gigantic cave. Yubingong was the first to speak. I'm feeling nervous. Mian agreed. Me too. Hearing this, Du Hyun reflected inwardly. Feeling anxious now was understandable. He recalled what had happened before they reached here. From hunting extra monsters along the way, they learned this dungeon's nickname, the Newbie Killer. This dungeon includes Top Shield level 9, Headshot level 9, Yubingong level 9, Kaiser level 9. The forum comments were loud. How the hell do you defeat that mutated goblin warrior? I just failed on my 3rd try. Do they even stand a chance? You can beat it if you follow the guide carefully. No way, I did follow it and it's brutal. One small mistake and the whole party wipes. Then what's the point anymore? Reading that, Du Hyun could confirm this was a dungeon where players would likely die the first time they entered. They entered with determination, treating it as a taste of a real raid. At Arde's tomb, none of the names given to it sounded hopeful. They entered with determination, treating it as a taste of a real raid. At Arde's tomb, none of the names given to it sounded hopeful. The dungeon itself even had unique mechanics requiring extremely tight team coordination when those elements combined. Another party stormed out in frustration as Du Hyun's group went in. No wonder this place is called the Newbie Grinder. Comments flew. Oh my god, seriously. Can we actually beat this? They should have designed it to be solo able. I just want to punch the teammates who messed things up. Mian listened and murmured. It really does seem brutal. Top Shield replied determinedly. It's tough, but we have to get through it. If we can't clear this place, we won't get to join any upcoming raids. Du Hyun kept his eyes on his teammates. He was right. Et regarde forum discussion. Even companies when faced with choices and businesses when given options. Notice, please follow the forum rules. Guild plus recruiting requires Goblin Warrior killed, hero rank or above. Guild Umbrella recruiting need to clear Goblin Warrior. Gable recruiting need to defeat Goblin Warrior. Some members asked, do we absolutely have to kill that Goblin Warrior? If you don't, you can't join any guilds or parties. Can't I just lie and say I beat it? No. Are they asking why you can't fake? Various topics about this Goblin Warrior kept coming up. Don't you know everything is recorded in the adventure log? So annoying. Quit the game. Your intelligence must be on par with that goblin. Those petty tricks don't work in God of Savior. Then they mentioned the appearance of an item. The adventure log book. Inside the adventure log are many things. Quests, materials, maps to explore new lands, and records of boss kills. You could say all player activities in the world of God of Savior are recorded in the adventure log. However, over time, once there's a long list of defeated bosses, it may change. But if you want to join boss hunting parties in the next city, players have no choice but to grit their teeth and clear this challenge. Do-hyun entered while thinking. Besides, the boss in the next city is a mandatory target to defeat. It's not like our day. After walking a bit further, he stopped. Before them now stood a gigantic gate with information displayed. Residence of the mutated Goblin Warrior. Rank rare. Type party dungeon. Feature solo boss. Description: the dwelling of a warrior who was once a legendary and brave green goblin until he was cursed and driven out by his tribe. Limit for players. Level requirement under level 10. Do-hyun then turned back and declared, "Shall we start moving in then?" The other members, though nervous, agreed. "Okay, I'm ready." Mian even added, "I've studied the strategy guide over 10 times. I'll do my best not to make any mistakes." However, right after they spoke, the atmosphere suddenly fell silent. The four of them stared at one another until Top Shield remembered his role. He stepped forward, placed a hand on the door, and declared, "Then I'll go in now." A system notification quickly appeared. Party leader Top Shield is requesting entry into the residence of the mutated Goblin Warrior. Do you consent? This time Yubingong loudly proclaimed, "Let's go." Mian likewise stepped forward with determination. Do-hyun showed visible delight. Agree. System information continued to appear. Checking the number of participating members. Verifying level. Entering the gate. After successful verification, the door opened for them, entering the territory of the mutated Goblin Warrior. Excitement increasingly showed on Do-hyun's face. It had been a long time since he'd moved. Time to get started. They stood respectfully at the doorway, observing the surroundings, and slowly advanced. The torches on the walls all flared to life, and the target to be conquered quickly appeared. Mutated Goblin Warrior. HP 20,000/20,000. Title: Elite Boss. Type: Goblin. Trait: Mutated Warrior with greatly enhanced physical strength. Once the greatest of the tribe, the curse changed his skin color and stole his reason. He was exiled after committing a frenzied massacre. The Goblin Warrior wore a twisted grin on its face. It let out a threatening roar, making the ceiling tremble. Top Shield observed and remarked, "So this is an elite boss." Mian couldn't help feeling a bit anxious. This matter, until Do-hyun's voice rang out. "It's charging." The Goblin Warrior targeted them and attacked. At the same time, Top Shield made an observation. No matter how skilled Kaiser is, he can't protect all three of us. Then Top Shield glanced at the other two party members. At least he finally made a decision. He needed to perform well too. The Goblin Warrior continued its display of dominance. Top Shield issued a command to the team. Spread out. They quickly moved off in different directions. Top Shield moved cautiously while observing the first mechanism. Charge. No sooner had he thought it than the Goblin Warrior lunged forward. Its head smashed into the rock. A system message appeared. Mutated Goblin Warrior stunned for 2 seconds. Yubingong and Mian seized the opportunity to cast spells. Their attacks hit the target simultaneously. However, the Goblin Warrior showed no sign of faltering. Top Shield's eyes widened. He grit his teeth as he watched it wield a greatsword. The Goblin Warrior struck down. Top Shield struggled to block. He even activated a skill. Passive skill. The Protector was triggered. A system notification appeared. Defense, vitality, and stamina stats increase when allies stand behind you. Top Shield turned back and signaled, "I've got its attention." A blue light appeared as Do-hyun launched his attack. The Goblin Warrior howled in pain after taking that full hit. An explosion occurred almost immediately. This prompted Top Shield to comment with delight, "Great, things are going smoothly. At this rate, we can clear Phase 1 safely." From the rear, Yubingong loudly signaled, "The next mechanism is about to activate." But Top Shield still didn't understand what he meant, because everyone knew that, in theory, that mechanism only appears when its HP drops to 10,000. The Goblin Warrior's HP was now 20,000/9,982. Top Shield stared blankly as the monster prepared to launch an attack. However, Do-hyun acted in time, closed the distance, and struck it in the blink of an eye. The Goblin Warrior howled in pain from the severe wound. Even Top Shield was taken aback. Do-hyun didn't stop there. A smug smile spread across his face. Along with that came a declaration. mechanism handle. The two of them sat on a stone bench. The reporter said, "Sir Kaiser, your team has conquered the toughest dungeons today. You are hailed as a member of the strongest party ever. Could you reveal the secret behind your success?" Do Hyun smiled brightly and replied, "Our secret? Perhaps it's simply that everyone maximizes their own strengths." She wrote down each of his words in her small notebook. The reporter continued, "Typically, a standard party composition includes 4 core roles: tank, damage dealer, healer, and support. However, I noticed your team lacks a tank. Is it feasible to raid without that role?" On that topic, Do Hyun pondered briefly. A tank, huh? They certainly play a very important role. Do Hyun had considered recruiting one, but the role was so critical no one had filled it. They must face the boss directly, intercept its attacks, and absorb all incoming damage. It's an essential responsibility. That's why I took on that role myself. This unexpected answer left the reporter wide-eyed and open-mouthed. Wait, what? Do Hyun only smiled to himself and glanced at her. In a recent battle, their team had to deal with a vicious, long-nosed goblin. Even Top Shield couldn't believe it. How was that possible? Do Hyun had rushed in alone and defeated it. Even true tanks struggled to stop its attacks with control skills. Yet he broke that attack pattern without using any crowd control. He only had a small sword in hand, and each slash was a critical hit. On top of that, he was positioned as a damage dealer. Even with a giant sword, the goblin could do nothing to Do Hyun. It roared in frustrated fury. He showed no fear and charged at it fiercely. Such attacks were ineffective. With a single slash, he sealed its limbs. The whole team was elated and surprised. Yubingong praised Do Hyun non-stop. Wow, look how he targets the weak points. It's insane, incredible. He even blocked its attack just now. Suddenly, Top Shield jerked when he saw the goblin's health drop dramatically after just a few of Do Hyun's slashes. The boss's HP was down to only 20%. Seeing the moment was ripe, he ordered the team forward. Phase 2 is about to begin. Everyone, prepare for the next assault. Yubingong had his bow ready, and Mian held his staff prepared. Ready. At that moment, the system announced that the mutated Goblin Warrior's HP had fallen below 20%. This mutated Goblin Warrior began to manifest its trait. Its muscles bulged, corded with sinew. It transformed to become stronger. They readied themselves for the decisive fight. System notification. Trait named Warrior has been activated. The goblin howled ferociously, shaking the ground. The system kept reporting. All its stats skyrocketed, and it had entered a berserk state. The mutated trait also began to take effect. Do Hyun assumed a ready stance to beat it to a pulp. Come at me. The goblin was now manifesting its mutated trait, an abnormal form of power that grants a unique skill to each boss. The power bestowed on this mutated goblin warrior is a rule. It's also called the 007 gang. The system continuously analyzed. If physical damage is dealt 4 times or more consecutively, the entire party will suffer a harmful effect. If magical damage is dealt 3 times or more consecutively, every attack will be reflected back at the player. When it let out its roars, a strange heat radiated from within it, knocking them back slightly. Due to the berserk state of the warrior trait, all players' attack and movement speeds were reduced by 4%. Yubingong spoke up. Dealing with this monster alone is exhausting enough. And now, there's a debuff on top of that. But only Do Hyun remained unaffected. Hero trait has blocked mental corruption. Rage effect neutralized. You are completely immune to the mutation's effects. When he realized his inner power had flared with killing intent, it meant those negative effects had no hold on him. Right? Top Shield, seeing the others worried, reassured them. Everyone stay calm and don't strike it by mistake. Focus entirely on evasion at all costs. Yubingong cooperated immediately. Understood. At that moment, he remembered, and Do Hyun turned to ask, "You have no objection to this, right, Kaiser?" But Do Hyun was unnaturally calm. He told them to wait here a little longer. Top Shield was baffled by his stance. "What did you say?" Suddenly, blood sparks appeared in Do Hyun's eyes, and a murderous aura flared over him. He sneered and said, "I'll go up there and handle it." This action left Top Shield unable to believe his eyes. In an instant, Do Hyun darted up to the goblin's feet. The goblin thought a single blow would crush him and grinned triumphantly. However, it was wrong. He used only the tiny sword in his hand to block its massive blade. Do Hyun's eyes blazed. In less than a second, he slashed countless times across the goblin's body. It screamed piteously. Do Hyun's eyes blazed. In less than a second, he slashed countless times across the goblin's body. It screamed piteously. Everything happened so fast. Top Shield couldn't believe Do Hyun's extraordinary ability. What the hell is going on? Wasn't he just considered a damage god before? He stared up with his mouth agape. And right now, he looked every bit like a true god of war. No matter how many blows the goblin swung, it couldn't stop Do Hyun's assault. Do Hyun's appearance now was indistinguishable from a bona fide god of war. He cut one side of its neck. It groaned softly and then swung from behind. In Top Shield's eyes now, Do Hyun seemed like a player who could hack the game. ID, Kaiser, you have successfully leveled up. Your swordsmanship mastery level has increased. Your swordsmanship has reached level 7. Thanks to level 7 swordsmanship, sword damage is increased by 7%. The goblin lunged like a madman, furious, and slashed at Do Hyun continuously. The goblin was overwhelmed and could not resist. Thanks to the Fury effect, you deal an additional 10% damage to boss-type targets. Do Hyun leapt up and delivered one final strike. Before it could even look, he had circled behind and chopped down. The goblin screamed as if its flesh were being torn apart, blood spraying everywhere. Then it collapsed to the ground and died. The system immediately announced, "You have successfully defeated the mutated goblin warrior. This dungeon has been officially conquered." Yubingong widened his eyes. Unbelievable. Mian was also shocked. Top Shield, sweating, said, "I was talking about that Kaiser." Yubingong, puzzled, asked him, "Is there something wrong with him?" He still hadn't recovered, his mind full of questions. Could he actually be the Real Lord Kaiser? The remark surprised both of them. What? Everyone watched Do Hyun's every move closely. Do Hyun stood on the back of the dead goblin, radiating victory. The system panel appeared. The system has calculated the completion time. Completion time, 29 minutes, 58 seconds. Current rankings. Rank 1, Team C, 29 minutes, 58 seconds. Rank 2, Anonymous Team, 35 minutes, 11 seconds. Rank 3, Team Masagre, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. Rank B, Other Teams, 44 minutes, 7 seconds. He planted his sword and heard the system continue. You have reclaimed the top position on the time rank. Additional rewards will be distributed based on contribution. Esta Kaiser, 2 Shield, 3 Mian, B, Yubingong. Shortly after, items slowly appeared. The reward for the highest contributor was delivered. You have received the red leather armor of the mutated goblin warrior. You have received the red gloves of the mutated goblin warrior. You have received the great blood sword of the mutated goblin warrior. You have obtained the title Golden Throne of the Time Trial. Golden Throne of the Time Trial. Description: this is a prestigious title awarded to the leader of the speed run. Effect: whenever a new record is set, all stats permanently increase according to that achievement. Acceleration: the time trial is an endless chase between hunter and prey. The holder of the throne must always push forward. Increases total speed by 10%. Additional stats from the current record, plus 5 to all attributes. Do Hyun grinned smugly. Just as I expected. These goblins, his chuckling smile, made people both fearful and strangely attracted. They're at their best when chopped to pieces. Yubingong couldn't help exclaiming, "Oh my god, isn't that a hero-tier title?" Mahanchidi's eyes also sparkled. These additional attribute lines are truly rare. She thanked him profusely. "Thank you, big brother. Without you, we wouldn't dare dream of such amazing rewards." She added, "Thank you so much, Kaiser." Do Hyun smiled kindly and said, "It's nothing." Suddenly someone called out, "Kaiser." Top Shield looked at him, had slightly bowed, and asked, "Could you please review the names that were just recorded on the ranking?" The system displayed the leaderboard. Current rankings. Rank 1, Team C, 29 minutes 58 seconds. Rank 2, Anonymous Team, 35 minutes 11 seconds. Rank 3, Team Massacre, 42 minutes 12 seconds. Rank 4, Other Teams, 44 minutes 7 seconds. Rank 10, Team Slayer, 46 minutes 35 seconds. Top Shield, looking contrite, said to Do Hyun, "I should have changed our party name earlier." He stammered, bowing his head, "I'm truly sorry." Do Hyun scratched his ear and gave an embarrassed smile. In his mind, he thought, having the top spot on the leaderboard is actually a tremendous privilege. The red flag waving flashed in his mind. They might even be invited by Top, 10 guilds thanks to the spectacular achievements they'd just earned. Seeing Top Shield's face now, Do Hyun felt that even if this was just a beginner city's dungeon, holding the top spot was still an important mark. He remembered that silhouette with the blazing golden gaze, and moreover that they stood even higher than Massacre. Top Shield apologized to Do Hyun again. "I'm very sorry for accidentally causing you trouble," he offered. "Whether it's money or anything else as compensation, just name it and I'll do my best to repay you." The corner of Do Hyun's mouth lifted into a small smile as he said calmly, "It's fine." Top Shield was very surprised to hear this. Do Hyun explained, "It was just accidental. Anyway, the system automatically uses the party leader's name for the ranking registration. Besides, I didn't expect to get first place myself." Do Hyun felt relieved without meaning to. Whatever, it's just a display name on a list. Glory shining? Attracting that kind of attention only makes me more tired. Then a greedy smile appeared on his face. Do Hyun thought, "The only thing I care about is the rewards." The system then announced information about a greatsword. Do Hyun looked for a moment and wondered. This equipment set is called the Warrior Set. He analyzed in his head. The quality ranges from rare to rare plus. These are the best items players at the current level can possess. His pupils contracted and a triumphant smile appeared. In his mind, a despicable thought flashed. "And I got such top-tier items. How could I be upset?" He smiled to himself, seemingly forgetting the presence of those around him, making Do Hyun look like a madman laughing alone. Top Shield asked worriedly, "Are you really okay?" Once again, the demon seized Do Hyun's mind. He came to, opened his eyes, and looked as if he didn't understand what had happened just now. Then he waved his hand and laughed, speaking normally. "Yes, I'm fine, so don't feel overly guilty." Yu Binggong saluted respectfully as if following orders and also thanked Do Hyun. "Thank you, big brother. From now on, I'll be absolutely loyal to you." Mahanchity cheered. Kaiser is truly number one. Only Top Shield remained pensive. He's really on a completely different level. The system displayed a notification. This dungeon session will end shortly. Suddenly, a strong blue light appeared and formed a three-dimensional spatial gate. Top Shield turned and said, "Hey, Yu Binggong." Yu Binggong replied, "Yes." Top Shield confessed, "To be honest, when I read the praise posts about Kaiser online, I thought they were exaggerated." He admitted, "But now I understand." Top Shield watched Do Hyun's retreating figure and said with certainty, "This is the real power of Kaiser." Do Hyun turned and asked, "You're not going to continue?" Top Shield flustered, "No, I'll go right away." Top Shield quickly stepped in. Then they all entered the spatial gate together. The mana transported them elsewhere. They arrived at the back alley of the city. They entered an item shop. Yu Binggong exclaimed, "It looks completely different from the outside, doesn't it?" Mian gaped in curiosity. "It's like magic. How can the scenery be so different?" Do Hyun looked around and was unconsciously drawn to something. At the counter stood a man with his scarf wrapped tightly around him. He growled, "Who are you people?" "That man's the alchemist called," Yu Binggong said cautiously. "He looks pretty scary." Mian agreed. "Looks like a pervert." Top Shield signaled them to be quiet. "Don't judge people only by their appearance," he said. "I hope you didn't come here just to announce your surrender." Kalda added, "There are many people waiting to be saved, but I still need more blood for my research." Do Hyun slammed a vial of alchemical fluid onto the table. It contained a red liquid. The man jumped and said, "Is this the blood of the mutated goblin warrior? You actually found it? It's only been about 40 minutes. Do Hyun replied calmly, "What you said is completely accurate." Kalda showed admiration. "Incredible. You defeated that mutated monster that fast." The system continuously displayed stats. The effect of the title, Maximum Initial Favorability, has been activated. Favorability has increased significantly. Affinity with Kalda has risen. You have completed the quest, Blood of the Mutated Goblin Warrior. Images of the rewarded items appeared. The rewards include 1 gold coin, a large amount of experience points, and a silver ring crafted by Kalda himself. You leveled up. You continued to level up. Each member of the team was promoted accordingly. Their system kept announcing, "You have cleared the first challenge." Ranking results for the first challenge will not be saved. You can now travel to the mainland. You receive a low-tier skill draw card as a reward. You also received an additional random skill draw card for reaching level 10. Yu Binggong screamed with joy. "Finally, the mainland. I'm coming." Mahanchity shouted even louder, "This is awesome." A series of system image messages arrived. You have earned a reward for completing special conditions. You have obtained a postcard with Calda's pencil. The postcard is signed by Calda. Rarity, rare plus description. A postcard preserving Calda's handwritten script. Do-hyun looked at the reward and thought, a special gift? Fine, I'll check that later. He clicked on an entry in the system. This is the most important part. The moment I've been waiting for since leaving Pantheon. A series of hidden cards appeared on the screen. Then they were released outward in streams of light. Each card hovered in the air. Do-hyun watched and thought, compared to Pantheon, this place seems a bit less solemn. Suddenly, he activated an additional skill. A pair of yellow-eyed visuals made his eyes glow with a metallic sheen. The system announced, Skill Eyes of Truth has been activated. He thought to himself, maybe because this is only a low-tier skill draw card and the golden cards are just swirling around, there's nothing particularly special to note. The system notified, you have learned the skill Concentrated Slash. Concentrated Slash, common rank limit. For swordsman class only. Description, you can dash in a designated direction while performing a sword swing. Effect, deals damage equal to 150% of attack power. Dash distance is proportional to movement speed. The higher the attack speed, the faster the skill activates. Cooldown, 10 seconds. Do-hyun assessed. This concentrated slash skill isn't bad. Do-hyun looked up more information and smiled, recalling that he often used it back in Demrock. Still, the real prize he was aiming for was something else. Other cards were drawn from the system. Do-hyun assumed one was a card allowing a random skill draw from common up to legendary. The system asked, do you want to use the random skill draw card now? Before he could react, the system announced, your login time has expired. You will be logged out in 5 seconds. Do-hyun gaped, what? The game system explained, login time limit. This is a system set up to prevent players from becoming exhausted or addicted from immersing themselves too deeply in this hyperreal virtual world. He realized he'd lost track of real time. Has it been 10 hours already? Only 3 seconds left on the countdown. A card glowed. The system reached 2. He was so tense that sweat soaked his shirt. The card shone brighter and brighter. The system hit the final second. Do-hyun grabbed the system panel in horror. He began to fade from the area, and the system announced, your login duration has ended. Forced disconnection in progress. At that moment in the cryo chamber, Do-hyun woke from a long sleep, but could not move free. After a while, he suddenly screamed pitifully. Time passed until the next morning. Do-hyun was so anxious that the chair he sat in trembled violently. The clock now read 10 o'clock. He gritted his teeth and thought, success. Then he returned to the cryo chamber and laid down in it. The system immediately analyzed, performing retinal recognition, verifying ID card information. ID card verification completed. Data synchronization finished. Establishing connection to the game god of Savior. Do-hyun's consciousness was transferred to another dimension. Welcome back to the paradise of adventures. Wishing you a very enjoyable and memorable journey. The back alley of Arde, the scene of an ancient town. Do-hyun stood fidgeting in a corner of the street. His status was extremely tense as he looked at the system screen. I need to check this quickly. At that moment, he was sure he had seen a stream of golden light emanate. The display text showed a new skill he hadn't viewed. He opened the skill archive, which only contained the card from earlier. Do-hyun breathed a sigh of relief. So that's it. He had thought the glowing cards were problematic, imagining they'd be a legendary tier skill, but it turned out not to be what he expected. In any case, his luck with drops has been pretty good lately. At the same time, Do-hyun received an additional skill. Backstab, hero rank limit. Assassin class only description. Approach the enemy from behind to cause disruption and deal massive damage. Effect, teleports behind the target within a certain range. At that moment, the enemy is marked for a period and the skill can be reactivated once before the mark disappears. When used again, the player closes in on the target and delivers a critical strike based on the damage accumulated on the mark. Cooldown, 50 seconds. He was a little surprised by this skill. Backstab. This ancient town is full of assassins. This move is the signature exclusive technique of assassins. It's why range class players always hesitate when facing an assassin. They can strike at any time. Even if you try to keep a safe distance, this overpowered skill can close the gap in the blink of an eye. Yet such a dangerous skill ended up in Do-hyun's hands. He realized it and felt pleased. But why did it fall to me? If I can gather a few more things like this. His smile grew increasingly bizarre, and slightly malicious thoughts filled his head. Whether fighting people or hunting monsters, I'll certainly become a perfect damage dealer, able to crush everything. At that moment, two soldiers, a man and a woman, approached, talking with each other. I've studied all the guides carefully, so let me handle it. Really? Of course that's fine. The young man was startled when he saw Du Hyun. He was so delusional his head looked like it might explode, his posture unsteady and swaying. A wisp of smoke escaped Du Hyun's mouth. His eyes were bloodshot, making him look like a demon from the underworld. Du Hyun's grotesque appearance frightened them. The young man said, "That guy looks kind of insane." The girl agreed. "We should pick another route to be safe." And they ran off as fast as dogs being chased. Only then did Du Hyun realize he was standing there, not knowing why they had fled. He looked at the system screen, quietly pleased. "At least I got a new skill. Should I try equipping the gear I just received?" In his inventory were all kinds of armor. The red leather of the mutated goblin warrior, the pauldrons of the mutated goblin warrior, the greatsword of the mutated goblin warrior, and the silver ring refined by Kalda. With this gear, I won't look like a weakling who could be bullied anymore. Du Hyun didn't hesitate and equipped everything right away. He was eager to fight. "Then let's move to the mainland." The system obliged. "You will be teleported to Raven, the first city of the mainland. In an instant, once you set foot on the mainland, you will not be able to return." A green energy portal opened and the countdown began. 5. Du Hyun turned for one last look at the town. He had left only yesterday, without time to say goodbye to anyone. His companions in this session, Top Shield, Yubingong, and Mian. He silently thanked them. "I've started to feel attached to them a bit. It's a little bittersweet." The clock kept counting down, 2 left. Du Hyun brushed it off. "Oh well, if it's meant to be, we'll meet again." He stepped in. At the same time, the system announced, "Initiating transfer to the mainland." Du Hyun was transported through the main gate into a large square. All players who finished training at Arde carried high hopes as they took their first steps on a mainland soil, and everyone chatted happily with one another. He noticed this differed from Arde, which was split into separate servers by nation. This was where players from everywhere gathered to form parties together. Seeing the scenery ahead and the challenges waiting, Du Hyun was ready to step into the journey's first starting point, Raven, the starting city. Suddenly soldiers shouted, "Everyone get out of the way!" The Knights of Raven had returned after completing a mission with distinction, and a man bound in ropes was being escorted in. "Let me go now," he cried. A soldier barked, "Stand still, you shameless bastard." The system then displayed a quest for Du Hyun. Upon entering the mainland, previously locked systems will be unlocked. Beginner perks will officially disappear. Instead, you can experience features such as the arena, friendly matches, and crafting workshops. Raven is the city symbolic of the beginning of a new journey. Enjoy your adventure on the new stage opening on the mainland. Tip: if you become the victim of a crime in Raven, don't hesitate to report it to the guard force immediately. After reading, Du Hyun was a bit surprised. They say the game truly begins once you set foot on the mainland. And that's not wrong. Suddenly a fat man appeared and called out to him. "Hey brother, come taste the beer, Raven's famous specialty. That red outfit really suits you." A seafood shop owner and a professional-looking chef also came to invite him. "Drop by our shop when you have time. I'll make sure to give you plenty of freebies." For a man, nothing beats a steaming bowl of guinea pig soup. Du Hyun sighed and thought, "Now I understand why so many people skip hunting just to sightseeing in this city." He answered unconsciously, "Sounds great," but he had to complete his main quest. Du Hyun slapped his face to snap himself back. "Get a grip. Enjoyment can wait until later." Du Hyun drew his sword, thinking, "Then I'll go and hunt for a bit now, I guess. It's just full of goblins here, and he can take them all down." By now, Du Hyun was on the Raven Plains. He was fighting the goblins, blocking his way. The system busily calculated scores and activated the warrior set attributes. Received intimidation effect when facing goblin species. Deals an additional 7% damage to goblins. Increases all stats by 2 points. Du Hyun grew stronger by the moment. He thought confidently, no gear is better for dealing with goblins than this set. The system also analyzed for him. The goblins were applying the intimidation effect to enemies thanks to the warrior set's attributes. The red goblin felt extreme fear. The blue goblin's fighting spirit had completely collapsed. Du Hyun drew and activated the focused slash skill. With no heavy effort, in one beat, he cleaved the goblins to pieces. The system scored again, dealt additional bonus damage thanks to the warrior set's effect. "You have slain the red goblin. You have successfully eliminated the blue goblin. After a moment, Du Hyun's feet touched the ground for at most 10 seconds. His speed was so fast they couldn't land a single hit and instead dropped like a pile. System item buff. The greatsword's attack power increases after finishing off an enemy. Du Hyun grinned with satisfaction. This feels thrilling. This warrior set is truly top-notch. He thought to himself, this set already has very high base stats, plus an extra 7% damage. A weapon that grows stronger after each hunt. Luck kept coming in waves, making him euphoric. This is amazing. Hunting low-level monsters feels so great. Du Hyun looked at the board and smiled. I'm completing quests smoothly. With a bit more effort, I'll level up soon. Suddenly, his predator instinct tingled when he noticed something off. What was that? He glanced and saw an invisible figure rushing in, a knife in hand. Du Hyun found it strange. A human. The figure lunged to stab Du Hyun. He thought, isn't that the warrior set? There's no prey tastier than a newly rich recruit. Suddenly the knife in his hand faltered a little, so Du Hyun simply stood still. The attacker rushed like lightning. Thanks for the hearty meal. But to his surprise, Du Hyun only tilted his sword and blocked the strike. The attacker's invisibility seal was broken. Killing intent rose within Du Hyun. He glared at him and said, what the hell is this? The assassin saw Du Hyun's advantage and leaped back. Unexpectedly, he had accomplices. What are you doing? You bastards, finish him off quickly. From above, an archer swooped in, but swift as he was, Du Hyun slashed and cut through 2 incoming arrows. Another axe wielder crazily charged. Du Hyun blocked with his sword and knocked him aside. The accomplices and the assassin froze at the sight. Damn. The assassin gritted his teeth, wanting to flee, thinking, this is absurd. How could a rookie soldier do this? But unlucky for him, Du Hyun had activated a skill. A mark had been created on the target. When he turned back, Du Hyun was already standing there waiting for him. Du Hyun merely slung the sword over his shoulder, yet his presence soared like a hellish god rising. He chuckled and greeted warmly. Are you lost? To Du Hyun, no matter where you go, there are always people who refuse to listen, and the game world is no different. The scene before him wasn't an official arena match, but an illicit slaughter. In other words, they were PK killers. They'd shown up in Dumrick and were now rampant in God of Save. Some did it for fun, some for loot, others to vent anger. Whatever the motive, ask 9 out of 10 people who the most detestable are, and they'll say it's those who hunt newbies. The image of veteran players surrounding a newcomer. Du Hyun believed they often targeted players fresh out of the starter village, killing them and looting all their belongings. Just like the guy blocking his path now. His eyes lit with cruelty. He smiled and asked him cheerfully, are you lost? His system announced. The mark on the target has disappeared. Assassin Boy looked up in terrified confusion. Backstab skill? The man's eyes filled with fear. How the hell can a swordsman perform backstab? In an instant, that man was eliminated from the game. Du Hyun's system announced. You have slain the player named Assassin. You have defeated the player named Triathan. Thus Du Hyun kept eliminating them. Notifications rang repeatedly. You have slain the player named Kinthitme. These players were classified by the system as villains. Your actions are deemed justified defense. Karma points will not increase. He thought after reading. This part operates exactly like in Demrock. Du Hyun's gaze was oddly calm. Perhaps all the newbie privileges were just an exception. Du Hyun remembered his old teammates and how unusually kind of people there were. He compared them to the bodies he'd just felled. In reality, this place was always full of scum like that. Holding the loot, Du Hyun paid it little mind. Anyway, put that aside. First I need to claim the quest rewards. The system sounded. You have completed the Goblin Extermination quest. Your reward is 70 silver and experience points. You have completed the Hunter's Plea quest. You receive an additional 80 silver, experience points, and a beast luring necklace. Your level has increased. You have reached level 17. The path to the West Gate is now open. The final gate had opened. He smiled triumphantly. Finally reached the West Gate. Du Hyun looked around and identified this as the western forest area of Raven. He gathered information from others and learned this was a hunting ground even NPCs warned about. He thought this place was the complete opposite of the wide plains at the East Gate. This was a dense forest with visibility reduced to a suffocating degree. Not only was it swarming with goblins, but it was also teeming with giant insects. Sudden ambushes from the goblin packs. The sight of other warriors fighting goblins and giant wasps and insect attacks, striking from hidden gaps between rock crevices and tree trunks. Du-hyun knew this place before he arrived. For that reason, the difficulty of the Western Forest was incredibly severe, with deeper mysteries emerging that were becoming the norm. And of course, an unspoken rule had formed here, which was to form a party of at least 3 members. That's why the area in front of the West Gate was always crowded. Right now, in front of Raven's West Gate, many players were gathering to form parties, making the place very lively. They shouted to one another, "Join our party. We have 1 tank and 2 DPS waiting. Somebody else needs 1 more melee damage dealer. I really need help to clear this area." Another party was stuck, leaving the leader with a headache. "Our team only lacks 1 healer." Their numbers were truly too small. A blond man nearby crossed his arms, looking annoyed. Healer players are rare. Few enjoy playing that role, and it's extremely hard to level up. A burly black-haired man suddenly pointed toward the gate. "Hey, look at that guy." Du-hyun's silhouette stood out among the crowd, drawing attention even from afar. He sneered, "Another clueless fool." Whenever someone new shows up, there are always a few types like the light brown-haired fellow also looked down on him, judging, "Unbelievable." Even those at the top of the rankings have to team up before entering the Western Forest. They huddled together and gossiped. Who does he think he is to go alone? Du-hyun heard everything, but only snorted at them. At that moment, deep within the wild forest, a red hue covered the sky. A decisive slash into a goblin tore the silence apart. System notification. You have slain a red goblin in the forest. Du-hyun charged forward with the greatsword in hand. Wherever he swung, goblins fell. One leapt down from above. Unfortunately for it, he had already planted his sword into the ground and rolled behind. Then he kicked it far away with a single foot. That goblin tumbled several times and nearly landed headfirst into the ground. It barely managed to struggle back to its feet. But unlucky as it was, before it could do anything, it was struck down by his blade. Suddenly, he noticed something flying in from behind. Du-hyun turned and swung his sword to cut the arrow. The goblin archer in the tree flinched at his quickness. Before it could flee, he charged at it with the greatsword. The massive blade swept through, severing its upper body. Looking back, only its lower half remained, still in an attacking posture. The greatsword flew from the force and fell to the ground. More red goblins, it seemed, appeared from who knew where. Seeing he had no weapon in hand, the system alerted. The warrior set's effects have been disabled. They recklessly surged forward like raiders. Du-hyun handled it calmly. For these pathetic monsters, I don't need the whole set. I still have an axe. System notice. Weapon restrictions have been lifted thanks to the weapon's master title. Basic weapon skills have been unlocked thanks to the adventurer trait. A skill unlocked. Performing the backstab technique. He lunged forward at a speed even faster than light. In an instant, he was right behind the goblin. He slashed decisively and ended its life. System notice. You had just used the axe basic skill named Crushed. The others surged up in waves. He didn't move his feet, but stood his ground. Du-hyun killed them all with a single one-handed swing of the axe. Each goblin was cleaved cleanly with a single stroke. Du-hyun grinned with satisfaction. Using an axe actually feels pretty awesome. The system rang out. You have slain another red goblin of the forest. Kill notifications kept coming. You have slain another red goblin. The red goblins lay strewn on the ground in a pitiful heap. System stat update. Your axe mastery level has increased to level 2. He stepped forward and picked up his greatsword. Du-hyun checked his stats, items, and rewards. He smiled. So the goblin hunt quest is complete. Now to find the necklace. Before he finished the sentence, Du-hyun sensed danger and turned around. A giant centipede monster had suddenly appeared. It growled and spat viscous slime everywhere. Du-hyun's face flickered pale. Things had gone wrong. The surrounding scene descended into strange chaos. Birds scattered wildly in all directions. The forest centipede was now rampaging forward. It aimed straight for Du-hyun. Seeing that, he roared. Without hesitation, Du-hyun drew his sword like light. A red gleam flashed in his eyes as he glanced toward the centipede. At that moment, its eyes flared red and it snarled. Du-hyun did not hesitate and swung his sword hard at the centipede's body. Immediately, it sprayed a strange liquid from its mouth. The centipede slammed into the ground, making a thunderous sound. Du-hyun remained on guard, staring intently at it. Suddenly, the centipede sprung up, its eyes blazing as it targeted him. Du-hyun was slightly startled at the sight. Before he could react, the centipede lunged to attack Du-hyun. Luckily, he responded in time, raising his greatsword to block. Do-hyun's face was solemn as he stared at it. Suddenly, Do-hyun summoned another weapon and snapped irritably. "You're ugly and filthy. Why you keep pressing that face so close to me?" With that, he struck squarely at the centipede's face. It howled in pain. Taking the opportunity, he aimed at it and then delivered a killing blow. After that strike, it showed no signs of life and collapsed to the ground. Immediately, the system displayed a series of notices. "You have defeated a giant forest centipede. Your sword mastery level has increased to level 10. You have leveled up. Do you is shaled sharply." He slammed his sword down onto the ground. The system interface kept popping up. Player, Kaiza, level 19. Health, 170/350. Class, Ultimate Adventurer. Titles, 3. Max Affection from the start. The First Slayer. The Throne of the Speed Race. Strength, 35/38. Agility, 35/37. Stamina, 5/37. Perception, 22/36. Mana, 5/34. So, I leveled up 2 more times. Do-hyun gazed thoughtfully at the notification panel. Although the process had been arduous, this rate of leveling was fairly decent. Most of the quests were already resolved. He propped his hand on his chin and thought, now all that's left is... The system sent a new notification. Lost necklace, common plus. Description: this is a request from Camila. A little girl had her precious necklace stolen by an anonymous cat. Help her retrieve it outside the Westgate area. Lost necklace, 0 out of 1. Completion reward, 1 gold, a certain amount of experience, and a small gift from Camila. Failure penalty. Camila's affection may decrease. Time remaining, 1 hour 24 minutes. Do-hyun was surprised to receive this quest. It was the only quest ranked Common Plus. Upon receiving the quest, Do-hyun said casually, "Actually, this quest isn't that difficult. Its location is already marked clearly on the map, so I just need to go there and pick it up." With that, he departed. The next day, chatter and announcements rang out. "Everyone please line up neatly. We're all in a hurry, so no cutting in line." Suddenly, an aggressive man shouted, "Hey, don't push others like that." The person opposite shot back, "I didn't push you, so don't accuse me." Do-hyun looked around curiously. "Is that tree over there where the necklace will reappear?" Fortunately, the waiting line wasn't as long as he had feared. If it had been a bit longer, he'd have had to wait a very long time for his turn. Suddenly, Do-hyun heard voices from afar. "Hey, have you heard about the killer targeting low-level hunters?" He glanced at 2 men standing not far away. "Is it that damn new boy? I know him. He ran amok, and now he should pay." The blonde man, after hearing the black-haired one's remark, replied, "Apparently he keeps rambling about someone named Kaiser, right?" Hearing that, Do-hyun frowned and thought, "Why is my name being dragged into this?" The two continued their conversation, unaware of Do-hyun's presence. Does that guy even exist? He's probably just an obsessive fan. I mean, he keeps boasting about a swordsman who can use the assassin's backstab skill. Who would believe such an absurd story? No fool would buy into that wild tale. Standing behind, Do-hyun heard them and felt a bit anxious, thinking, maybe I should stay silent and keep a low profile for a while. Do-hyun's expression grew solemn as he pondered. A swordsman who can master assassin skills and also possess up to 6 different traits? Surely the major guilds won't leave someone like that alone. He considered the worst-case scenarios. Some parties might try to recruit me, and the number of people wanting to eliminate me at the outset will undoubtedly increase, especially if those top guilds include many former members of Demrock. If they can't possess me, they'll do everything to destroy me. That's just their modus operandi. After a while of searching, Do-hyun found the necklace. The system quickly appeared. You have successfully collected the lost necklace. Please deliver this necklace to Camila in person. Do-hyun clenched the necklace in his hand. It's still too soon to reveal myself. Scene shifts to Raven, and a clear, bright voice exclaims, "Oh, wonderful, this is exactly my necklace. I sincerely thank you so much. Without your help, I probably would never have found it." Camila looked at him with sparkling, grateful eyes. At the same time, the system announced, "You have successfully completed the Lost Necklace quest. Your reward is 1 gold coin and a certain amount of experience, along with a small gift from Camila. You have been promoted to a new level. You have reached level 20 and received a random skill draw token." Suddenly, Camila brought a box before Do-hyun. She gently said, "Although this is the treasure I cherish most, because you were so kind, I will give it to you." The The system then analyzed Camilla's small gift. Camilla collects strange objects. This is a random box containing the most precious item in her collection. No one truly knows what is inside it. Rarity, common plus. Do Hyun bowed slightly and reached out to ruffle the girl's hair. All right, thank you. Next time be careful and don't lose it again. Camilla obediently replied, Yes, thank you very much. The girl's face could not hide her happiness. Suddenly, the system began sending numerous notifications. The max affection from the start title effect has been activated. Current affection is rising very rapidly. Camilla's affection points toward you have soared. After handing the necklace to Camilla, Do Hyun departed. Goodbye. He turned back and smiled slightly at the girl. Maybe because she's young, her affection increases so quickly. Walking along, he thought, now I need to get started on the next quest. The system sent him a quest. Dungeon Conquest, rare. Description, Rina, who keeps watch over the western woods, fears the monsters will grow stronger if the dungeon is left abandoned too long. Clear the dungeon outside the west gate. 0/1. Completion reward, 10 gold, a large amount of experience, and a low-tier skill draw token. Failure penalty. Rina may feel disappointed in you. Time limit, 48 hours. Do Hyun thought. Since the reward includes a skill token, I absolutely can't miss this lucrative quest. Do Hyun remembered. When it comes to dungeons at the West Gate, two places stand out, the Goblin Leader's Lair and the Ant Tunnel. His expression darkened slightly. Given the warrior gear I'm wearing, the Goblin Dungeon would offer more advantages. But ironically, both of those places require dungeon parties. If I can avoid it, I don't want to reveal my special abilities this early. At the Goblin Leader's Lair, people were calling out, looking for mages. Fire mages preferred, only accepting those level 20 and above. Buying all kinds of items, highest market prices. We offer on-site weapon repairs. Anyone need repairs? Do Hyun walked over and examined the surroundings. Even production class players had gathered here. Just then a man approached the soldier and said, I'm a thief. The soldier refused. Our group doesn't take thieves. Please know your limits. Another soldier heard him and retorted, Isn't it enough that we share the same goal of killing the goblin leader? But the man insisted, No, it's better if you don't show up here at all. At that moment, a group nearby pleaded, Mage, please join our party. We're all level 20 with full gear. Please join our team. Come with us, miss. Seeing this, Do Hyun assessed. It seems they are merely lurking to recruit mages. It's understandable. In God of Savior, a class's value is dictated by the boss's traits. At least in this dungeon, mages are the true kings and gods. The dilemma was that swordsmen were also considered worthless here, so no one paid them any attention. Thinking that, his face fell. Suddenly a voice rang out. Hey, you brother in the warrior armor, a friendly man. If you still haven't found a party you like, would you like to come with us for a run? Do Hyun looked at him in bewilderment. You do realize I'm just a swordsman, right? Bastard world. The paladin and the mage smiled at Do Hyun. Of course we know. Our speed is high, but we're doing this run for the quest, so your class doesn't really matter. He thought intently. Something's not right here. Should I play along with them for a bit? Thinking that, Do Hyun scratched his head and looked at them. I'd be grateful if you let me join. Seeing that, Bastard World immediately replied. Then I'll send you a party invite right now. A notification appeared immediately. A party with player Bastard World has been formed. Party. Bast World, level 24. Amazing Holy Knight, level 24. Great, level 24. Kaiser, level 20. Do Hyun frowned and thought, these guys, they've definitely recognized my true identity already. Rewinding to before Bastard Word met Do Hyun, he had looked at him with curiosity. So it's really him, then, the paladin responded. Kaiser, the one wearing the armor and carrying the great sword. The mage quickly added, it's definitely him. There's no second person around here who looks like that, right? Bastard's Word grinned cunningly upon hearing that. Indeed, that kind of equipment is rare to encounter. After Do Hyun accepted their invite, the group entered the cave. The system introduced. Home of the Goblin Chief. Rarity, rare. Type, standard dungeon. Description, once a brave warrior and a legend of the Green Goblin tribe. But cursed, he left the clan and now dwells here. Limit, for players. Level limit, level 24 and below. Do Hyun's group advanced deeper. Wherever they went, goblin corpses lay scattered. At the same time, a notification sounded. Red Goblin Scout has been defeated. The scout's death was reported to the chief. After sweeping through, Bastard's Word smugly said, "Easy, this is simple." The paladin beside him chimed in, "It's as easy as candy." Standing behind, Du Hyun silently assessed, "Not bad. Their strength is fairly stable, and the team's coordination is good." Suddenly the system announced, "The chief is frightened and begins to spawn minions. Everyone prepare to fight." At that, from deep within the cave, red glowing eyes turned toward the group. Bastard's Word said to him confidently, "Can you handle this fight?" The paladin smiled at him. "If things get dangerous, we'll jump in to help immediately." The mage added, "Consider this a chance to practice coordination. Give it a try. If anything happens, we'll assist right away." Du Hyun's cold gaze swept to the three of them. "So you want to test my skill? All right, I'll put on a show with you a bit." With that thought, he slowly stepped forward and drew his sword. In the blink of an eye, Du Hyun charged straight in. System announcement. Skill charge slash has been used. In an instant, the goblins fell one after another. Bastard's Word, seeing this, curled his lip and said, "So it is him." The paladin added, "We've found the right person." Suddenly Bastard's Word asked the paladin, "What do you think?" He replied, "Not bad." The paladin watched his every move and assessed. He dodges lethal strikes very well. Even carrying that great sword, his speed is pretty fast. Bastard's Word pondered from a distance. With that setup, he doesn't need to fear anyone in this area. Suddenly the paladin spoke up, "But I keep feeling something's off." Bastard's Word looked at him puzzled. "Off where?" He then offered an analysis. "You say an assassin got taken down by a guy who only relies on gear like him? High damage with fast speed? I'll give you that. But assassins are one of the top PvP classes. They have stealth and paralytic poison, yet still lost in a 3 versus 1 fight." The mage behind cut in, "Why overthink it? Our job is just to deal with him anyway." Bastard's Word patted the paladin's shoulder. "Right, finish this quickly. Once this job's done, we're square." He smiled slyly at that. "Okay, shall we get moving then?" Bastard's Word warned, "Keep your expressions right, just act natural." The paladin replied confidently, "Don't worry about that." Du Hyun continued seriously dispatching the goblins. Seeing that, the paladin pretended to run over. "Kaiser, you're amazing." Bastard's Word joined in. "We just invited you to be safe, but I have a feeling you could handle this place alone." Du Hyun played along. "It's nothing. Everyone here is skilled too." Bastard's Word and the paladin continued the pretense. "How do you find such skilled people?" "It's thanks to my eye for talent." Standing aside, Du Hyun quietly judged their faces. They can let a teammate fight alone and still put on that shameless, brazen expression. He stared at Bastard Word. "Depending on the situation, they'll abandon me. And if I die, they'll strip me of all my gear." Bastard's Word immediately smiled and said, "All right, enough resting. Shall we move on? Let's go." Du Hyun replied coolly, "Sounds good." The paladin chimed in, "Great." Bastard's Word thought maliciously to himself, "I'll quietly send you off when I get the chance." Du Hyun looked back firmly. That won't be easy. Before long, their group moved further in. They split up to eliminate the goblins. Du Hyun, radiating strong presence, cut down the surrounding goblins. Suddenly Bastard's Word and the mage had a disagreement. They whispered to each other, "Aim properly, will you?" "No, I clearly aimed, but that goblin suddenly." Were the three of them planning to eliminate Du Hyun, or was he just lucky? Du Hyun pretended to follow their act. "I deliberately exposed my back, and they still couldn't do anything. Maybe I should wait a bit longer." At that moment, the system sent a notification. The boss chamber is open. The door in front of them slowly swung open. The goblin chief detected the intruders. A surge of energy spread out before the group. The elite Red Goblin troop was attempting to block the enemy's path. Red Goblin Elite. Title: Elite Monster. Type: Goblin. Trait: Tenacious. Description: among the Red Goblin soldiers, these units are the most elite and rigorously trained. Elite Goblin Infantry with terrifying fangs appeared. They charged straight toward the group. Bastard's Word panicked and shouted, "Kai, can you deal with these elites for a moment?" After that wheel, before he could finish, the elite goblins had closed in. Bastard Word, not seeing Du Hyun, yelled, "Kaiser!" Bastard Sword's face twisted in distress. "What the hell? That bastard. Where did he go?" The paladin also blurted out in alarm, "Hey, has he been discovered?" Suddenly the mage pointed ahead. "Look forward." Bastard's Word jerked his head up. The elite goblins had rushed in. Bastard's Word had no choice but to leap up and block them. Seeing that, The paladin also rushed up to assist. He shouted loudly, "I'll hold it off. Finish them quickly, everyone." The mage quickly responded, "Roger." But before she could react, a gigantic object hurtled toward her. The mage's eyes widened at the sight before her. A colossal foot emerged from the Goblin Chief's doorway. Goblin Chief. Title: Rare Dungeon Boss. Type: Goblin. Traits: Cowardly, Defensive, Selfish, Vengeful. Goblin Chief. Title: Rare Dungeon Boss. Type: Goblin. Traits: Cowardly, Defensive, Selfish, Vengeful. The paladin strained and shouted, "We'll draw its attention first. So, in the meantime, you should." Suddenly the mage stammered in shock. "That bastard. How is this possible?" Du Hyun slowly walked up from behind. Bastard Sword's group turned their gaze toward him. The assassin Du Hyun spread a sly smile. "You guys are his friends, right?" The mage panicked and shouted, "Wait a moment. Yes, we're enemies, but at least let's clear this dungeon together first. After all, we have to cooperate to get through the stage." Du Hyun's expression didn't change. He said coolly, "That actually makes sense." Her face turned pale as she looked at him. "Right, exactly. Let's just focus on clearing the dungeon first." Du Hyun said nothing. With glowing red eyes, he drove a blade through her body. He revealed a look of contempt at Bastard Sword's group. "Besides, I don't like you." The system immediately popped up multiple notifications. "You have defeated the Supreme Mage player. This player has been identified as evil, so your karma score will not increase." Du Hyun hoisted his sword and sneered inwardly. "Told you, these guys are all thick-headed brutes." Then he instantly teleported out of the encirclement. "Good thing I used back grab to hide beforehand." Du Hyun hid behind a rock and watched silently. "I had a hunch, but I didn't expect this move to work on corpses too." Bastard's word roared. "You madman. You killed the mage straight up? Do you want all of us to die with the boss?" He curled his lip in mockery. "Do you know what my principle is?" He looked a bit puzzled and turned his head. "What?" Du Hyun gestured and summoned a volley of swords. "I never ally with scum who lurk around to stab people in the back." He flashed a cruel smile and continued, "Cooperating with people like that can only end in rot." Bastard's word went pale with shock. "That's the assassin kid's sword volley. How do you have it?" Du Hyun waved the sword volley and shot back. "It's your friend's gear, so you recognized it straight away?" One look and you knew. He couldn't believe it and blurted out, "Unbelievable. How could a swordsman even use that weapon?" Not letting it go, he growled a threat. "What are you going to do with it?" Bastard's word gritted his teeth as he caught the goblin's sword and snarled, "If you kill us, you think you can finish this quest alone?" Thinking of the goblin chief, his voice dropped. "Do you even know what the tribal goblin's defensive skill actually blocks? It counters all physical attacks." Saying that, Bastard's word sneered angrily. "That's why in this dungeon the mage is supreme. What can someone like you do with that crippled dagger?" He only got Du Hyun's indifferent reply. "A status effect." Hearing that, he froze suspiciously. "What?" Du Hyun lifted the sword volley and mocked. "You think status effects are for show?" Bastard's word was stunned by that smile. "Are you insane? You expect to finish the goblin with just the pathetic blood on that weapon?" A sharp glint appeared in his eyes. "If it were just ordinary blood, that wouldn't be enough." Seeing that, he involuntarily exclaimed, "What?" No sooner had the words left his mouth than the spot where Du Hyun had stood was only a blur. In the blink of an eye, he had flashed past the two of them. Still, he angrily spat. "What the hell can such a little bit of damage do?" But before he could finish, a notification popped up. A huge stat disparity activated the assassin's dagger effect, suffering the bleeding status effect. Damage surges due to overwhelming stat difference. HP has dropped below 50%. Bastard's word, coughing up blood, froze at the message. "Overwhelming stat difference? I'm higher level. How is this possible?" He looked at Du Hyun in despair and wondered, even if he stole gear, I'm level 24 and he's only level 20. How huge must the stat gap be for this bleeding effect to be so terrifyingly strong? Sensing that stare, Du Hyun pondered quietly. "You wouldn't understand. This bleeding skill I got from a level 20 gacha ticket." At the same time, an info panel appeared. Bleeding, rare, requirement, forest attribute. Effect. The next successful attack after using the skill inflicts bleeding for 10 seconds. If there is a large stat disparity with the target, effectiveness may be reduced. Duration and damage will be adjusted accordingly. Cooldown, 15 seconds. Du Hyun thought with some doubt. That it can stack actually surprised me. He sank into his thoughts. just like in Demrock or Goes. Status effects typically don't stack when used by the same class. Suddenly, Do-hyun looked up with a self-satisfied smile. But who would have guessed someone like me would use a conman skill on the assassin's weapon? Who could have known? At that moment, Bastard's word screamed, "What kind of bleeding is this?" "It's a hack." He clutched his weak wound and demanded, "You're a hacker, right?" No sooner had he spoken than Bastard's word collapsed. A notification followed. "You have defeated the player Bastard Word. This player has been identified as evil, so your karma will not increase. You have slain a red goblin elite." He sighed wearily and thought, "Honestly, these guys can only ever say one thing." While thinking, the paladin's roar suddenly rang out. He clenched his teeth in rage and cursed under his breath. "Damn it!" Staring at the two cold corpses of his comrades, the paladin frantically wondered, "How did this happen? What did I go wrong?" As if realizing something, he suddenly froze in horror. "No, from the start we shouldn't have gotten involved in this." Just as the paladin was calculating, a sharp blade suddenly sliced by. "We have to run. Now!" In the blink of an eye, Do-hyun had streaked past his body. The paladin spat a mouthful of blood as a system screen appeared, suffering bleeding status. Damage surging due to extreme stat disparity. HP has dropped below 10%. Seeing that, he stared in shock and asked, "What?" Moments later, the paladin collapsed with a system notification. "You have defeated the player Paladin Hutcan. This player has been identified as evil. Therefore, your karma will not increase. You have slain a red goblin elite." Do-hyun coldly asked one question. "That damage actually does pack a punch. After all, I did pump a full 15 points into strength. Hope it was worth it." In another corner, the goblin chief was watching him. Seeing the corpses of its kind, it growled a few times. Then the goblin chief suddenly let out a roar, followed by a notification. The goblin chief is enraged by its minions' deaths. The roar immediately drew Do-hyun's attention. Seeing it charging madly, he sighed inwardly. Almost forgot that guy's still here. A flash of interest lit Do-hyun's eyes. "All right, let's have some fun." In an instant, the goblin chief's gigantic form closed in on him. Do-hyun didn't hesitate and twisted his body to dodge. He launched himself and delivered a kick to it. The goblin chief cried out from the blow. Watching its body fall, Do-hyun allowed a triumphant smile. As Do-hyun hit the ground, the goblin chief crashed down, but his gaze suddenly froze in astonishment. Hidden in the hazy smoke were a pair of blazing golden pupils. The moment it sprang back up, a crimson screen also flashed. The tribal goblin leader's defensive skill has been activated. Do-hyun wasted no time and swung his sword forward. He sliced past, leaving a cold, slashing aura that tore through the giant's body. The system continuously displayed status, suffering bleeding status. HP has dropped below 40%. HP has dropped below 30%. Suddenly, it jerked its head around, eyes filled with fear and anger fixed on Do-hyun. He gave a wicked smile and clicked his tongue. "Let's end this here." Feeling the overwhelming killing intent, the goblin chief let out a terrified howl. Without hesitation, it panicked and turned to flee. Do-hyun frowned slightly and activated a skill using back grab. Meanwhile, the goblin chief was fleeing in panic, but in the blink of an eye he had caught up to. Do-hyun curled a lip and laughed disdainfully. "Where do you think you're running off to?" That expression immediately made it scream in fear. Only a streak of bright red blood remained on the cliff wall. With a thud, the system screen appeared again. "You have defeated the dungeon boss, Goblin King. Congratulations on clearing the dungeon. The achievement has been recorded in your adventure log. You have leveled up." A series of messages appeared. Dagger Mastery has reached level 5. Goblin King's ultra-durable belt, rare. Requirement, level 20. Restriction, none. The Goblin King's leather belt was made extremely sturdy to support his huge belly. He raised the belt in his hand with excitement. "Nice, this is legit. I've been needing a belt." Perfect timing. Do-hyun didn't hesitate and manipulated the screen. Goblin King's ultra-durable belt. Unequipping will reduce stamina by 1 point. Strength +1. Stamina +2. Seeing the results, he smiled with pleasure and thought, "Not bad at all. If time counted, I might have ranked on the leaderboard." Not every dungeon has a time limit. It's not always a speed race. Then Do-hyun suddenly turned his head and looked back, a little regretful. But looking at that gleaming shield, he mused, "I've still got the loot that dropped from those players." The system notification lit up before his eyes. Collected item dropped from player. Silver shield. A shield forged from silver iron. A very rare ore. Rarity, rare. Requirement, level 20. Restriction, warrior class using shield. Special effect. The more divine power it absorbs, the greater its damage reduction. Du Hyun remarked with interest. A rare drop? Those players must have spent a lot to get that. The notification suddenly changed content. Bastard Sword's Training Sword. The Iron Sword Bastard's word used to train his sword speed. Rarity, Rare Plus. Requirement, Level 20. Restriction, Swordsman Class. Special effect. Has a chance to trigger a slight attack speed boost on hit. Seeing that, his gaze shifted with curiosity. Bastard Sword's Training Sword? Remembering that face, Du Hyun snorted sarcastically. He really was an IDBW file maniac. Now that name doesn't mean anything anymore. Still, he dismissed the thought and started calculating. I'll just sell these things for money. The system popped up again, catching Du Hyun's attention. The seer skill has been activated. Seeing a distant crimson glow, he suspiciously wondered. What's that over there? Both curious and cautious, Du Hyun stepped closer. An invisibility skill? If so, this light is too strong. Or is it a rare herb? Right after, the system updated. You have discovered a hidden dungeon, the refuge of the Dark Mage. What met his eyes was a yawning, deep gate. You're the first to find this hidden dungeon. Receive the title, Skilled Explorer. Du Hyun, a bit dazed, repeated. Hidden dungeon. Countless bits of information flashed through his mind. There are many types of dungeons in this game. Team dungeons, solo bosses, mazes, special dungeons, and event dungeons. But among them, the rarest and least known are hidden dungeons. Du Hyun felt drawn to the deep gate before him. Even classes specialized in exploration rarely find them. Not only are they located in absurd places, they also require bizarre entry conditions. Lights flickered and a slew of information changed instantly. Confirmed only one survivor in the dungeon. Confirmed not currently in a party. Eligible. He clicked his tongue in annoyance, muttering, truly crazy. Look at how harsh that condition is. Du Hyun couldn't help grumbling. A dungeon meant for parties, but they force a lone player to find a hidden path, and you can't be in a party. Though he smiled outwardly, inwardly he added, with a condition like this, even if you find it, it's basically worthless. Lights flickered and the system displayed. The Refuge of the Dark Mage. Hero rank type. Special hidden dungeon feature. Solo boss description. One day, rumors of a black-skinned demon and raven spawned countless tales. Max players. 1 entry condition. First discoverer. The dungeon will disappear after clearing and cannot be re-entered if failed. Du Hyun smirked arrogantly. Hero rank again? I have to clear this place no matter what. The aphorism from G rank 1279 freed suddenly came to mind. Stepping into a hidden dungeon is like sticking your head into a predator's mouth. Comments erupted immediately. What the hell is that about? No idea. Is it really that hard? So entering here is basically suicide? Then why is everyone obsessed with finding hidden dungeons? Are they all sick of living? It was a metaphor, but anyone who'd tasted a hidden dungeon nodded in agreement with free. What happens when you stick your head into a predator's mouth? It crushes you immediately. A hidden dungeon is exactly that predator's mouth. It opens and waits. The prey walks in on its own. The end is the beast's cold, merciless gaze. On the other side, Du Hyun stepped through the gate. You have entered the dungeon. He was greeted by a gray orb hurtling toward him. The moment the orb struck, the system announced, you were hit by the cursed orb. Applied effect, blind. Amid the heavy atmosphere, the system suddenly chimed. Blind will narrow your vision for a period of time. Then a series of notifications. Heroic disposition helps you resist psychological collapse. Completely removes the blind effect. Still, Du Hyun broke into a confident smile. Quite the harsh welcome. A deep voice suddenly rang out. How dare you enter my house without permission? You truly are human with no sense of fear. Before him was a squad of undead goblins. A moment later, a notification popped up. Undead Goblin of the Dark Mage. Then countless giant spiders appeared. Undead spiders of the Dark Mage. Du Hyun's brows immediately knit. Disgusting. He seemed to sense it and laughed. It seems you're horrified to see my offspring. As his face became clear, an info panel appeared. Jihad, black title. Named Boss. Hero rank type. Demon disposition. Special bloodline spirit mage. Necromancer flexible fingers. Description. The survivor of an extinct tribe, inheriting an exalted bloodline. JH is a demon who has lived for centuries. Seeing that, he was a bit stunned and asked, a name Boss too? Even if hidden dungeons are really difficult, this is still a named boss. Remembering that feral dragon, Du Hyun calculated quietly. When I fought that wyvern, the rewards were great. I wonder what will drop this time. At that moment, the deep voice sounded again. But it's strange. How did a human find this place? Jihad laughed cruelly and remarked, I don't sense the scent of an explorer. You carry too many mixed auras. You truly are a strange creature. Hearing that, he suddenly realized, what? This demon has a keen nose. Without hesitation, he unleashed his pressure. No matter how strange you are, once you step in here, there's no escape. As if triggered, the horde of undead rushed toward Du Hyun. He showed no fear and taunted, You're not even a bit tense? Then let me teach you a lesson. Surrounded by undead, Du Hyun immediately activated a skill. When fighting in melee, a ranged attacker must always be extremely vigilant. Seconds later, he appeared right behind Jihad, startling him. Jihad didn't hesitate and swung his hand. The system sounded an announcement. Activated skill, Death Control. Speed greatly increased thanks to the flexible fingers disposition effect. Accompanying the announcement was a violent explosion. Activated skill, Corpse Explosion. A rolling shockwave burst out, forcing him to brace himself to stay upright. As if seeing something, Jihad's expression suddenly changed. He spun around immediately, without him noticing when Du Hyun stood in the distant gloom. In his hand was a bloodied knife. A smug smile curled at the corner of his mouth. The system coldly notified, You have been afflicted with bleeding. Jihad cried out in horror. Since when? Seeing that face, Du Hyun cheerfully asked, Shocked? I told you, you should stay more focused. That smile instantly drove him insane. You little rat. Jihad waved his hand, summoning countless undead. Let's see how long you can endure. He moved like a blade, leaping aside and dodging in an instant. He didn't stop, continuously waving his hand to summon the rising undead. Du Hyun nimbly dodged every attack. Meanwhile, he had already seen through Jihad's plan. I see it. Where he's aiming and where he'll strike. Staring at that manic face, Du Hyun mused. And the whole scheme he's plotting too. In a short while, he found himself backed against a wall. The smile on his face grew even more deranged. This ends here. With a clang, a violent explosion erupted. The hidden dungeon boss Jihad Black was unleashing his ultimate, Great Death Explosion. Jihad laughed maniacally and muttered, You are a rare experimental specimen, so I meant to take it easy, but you went and found your own death. With the system's low rumble, Du Hyun suddenly appeared right behind him. The trace had vanished. His deep voice echoed in the ear. Did your skill miss? No sooner had he finished speaking than Du Hyun's fist swung straight into Jihad's face. He was blasted into the cliff. A horrific scream rang out. Jihad coughed up blood, his body trembling from pain. While he clutched his chest in agony, Du Hyun stepped forward. His face was shrouded in shadow, radiating killing intent. Still, he snarled stubbornly, You bastard, I'll definitely get my revenge. No sooner had he spoken than Du Hyun landed a punch to his gut. He didn't stop, continuing to swing. A flurry of punches struck Jihad's face. In an instant, dozens of punches were thrown. Just as Du Hyun was about to strike again, he suddenly cried out, Wait! Jihad clutched his bruised face and screamed, Hey, are you hitting my bones? Hitting bones is foul play. Hearing that, he raised a skeptical brow. What kind of boss is this? Meanwhile, the sound of him wincing continued. My bones hurt so much. Du Hyun, slightly at a loss for words, wondered. This thing is hero rank? Recalling the earlier attack, he couldn't help assessing. Corpse Explosion is strong, but aside from that move, he's still too weak. Seeing Du Hyun move, Jihad flinched in terror. Without hesitation, he immediately leapt backward. Watching that series of actions, he grew somewhat suspicious. He laughed darkly and cursed. You foolish human, I was just waiting for you to slip up. Amid the dark mist, a notification popped up. Secret Dungeon Boss. Jihad Black activated the bloodline trait. The overhead info shifted. When Jihad awakens his bloodline, his stats will surge. Du Hyun jumped and asked himself, His stats increase. As if thinking of something, his expression darkened. He looks pathetic now, but going from hero rank to hero plus is a whole different story. Du Hyun quickly drew his blade, thinking, because proper raid pushes all-star to hero plus, I can't let him be. He didn't hesitate, flexed his legs, and lunged forward. Then a series of notifications popped up. Strength increased by +20. Strength stat has surpassed 100. Do-hyun looked at the stats before him and silently regretted. Maybe I put too much in his strength. But with a clang, the system info shifted. Warrior gear set applied. Deals an additional 7% damage to goblin-type enemies. He wasted no time and swung his sword up. Where he had been standing moments ago was now only a haze of dust. A notification immediately popped up, lines of text flooding his view. Due to the Fury effect, the boss will take an additional 10% damage. Thanks to sword mastery, damage increased by 10%. Jihad gaped and stammered. This is utterly absurd. A murderous glint flashed in Do-hyun's eyes. Before the onslaught of destructive damage, everything was equal. With a single slash, he utterly defeated him. After Jihad's dreadful scream, a blue screen appeared. You have defeated the secret dungeon boss Jihad Black. On the other side, lines of text immediately popped up. Congratulations on clearing the secret dungeon. The achievement has been recorded in the adventure log. Symbols and numbers blinked continuously. Since you were the first to clear this dungeon, the rewards will be doubled. Your level has increased. You have received the dungeon clear rewards. You have received the dungeon clear rewards. An item info line appeared. Soulstone of the Goblin Mage's Resentment. A versatile gem imbued with a grudging spirit. Rank, Hero. Requirement, level 30. Class, Mage. Cloak of the Black Goblin Mage. The Black Cloak of the Goblin Mage bears a spell that disrupts identification, allowing easy concealment. Rank, Hero. Requirement, level 30. Class, Universal. Special option, when paired with a matching hat, the identification jamming mode activates. Do-hyun breathed a sigh and exclaimed, truly hero rank loot, really high-quality rewards. Didn't expect both a gem and auxiliary gear to drop. A hint of dissatisfaction lingered in his voice. Those stat lines are a bit awkward to use, but something is better than nothing, right? Just then, the screen changed again. Remnants of a forgotten tribe. Rank? Do-hyun froze, suspicious. Remnants of a tribe? He stroked his chin thoughtfully. The rank is a question mark. Even in Demrock, unidentified items look exactly like this. Do-hyun couldn't figure out after a while and resigned. All right, whatever. It'll reveal itself in time. As he finished, his gaze fell on the lower screen. The system clearly displayed a strange card. Do-hyun, a bit suspicious, wondered, a card? He sank deeper into thought. Go seems really invested in the card system. Not only for skill combos or enhancements, but even bosses in the adventure log are stored as cards. Do-hyun grinned widely and muttered as he calculated. If it's a monster card, it's probably used for forcing equipment, right? On the screen was his status line. Jihad Black card, hero rank. Description, a card sealing the soul of the Goblin Mage. When used, he will be summoned as a guardian and the card will disappear. He was a little surprised reading that line. A guardian? A guardian is simply a protector of its master, like the salamander of fire mage or the golem of alchemists. Do-hyun scratched his head with some curiosity. A guardian? Huh? Sounds nice enough, fine by me. But remembering Borm's two ferocious beasts, he muttered, unless it's a divine beast like that purple-haired guy's Long or a box. As he spoke, Do-hyun offered his qualifier, because ordinary guardians just cost upkeep and are useless. The status line immediately displayed, summoning guardian. In an instant, Jihad Mini was summoned. Jihad Black. Title, Guardian by name. Rank, Hero. Species, Goblin. Level 1. Loyalty, over 100. Traits, Bloodline, Necromancer's Curse. Quick Hands. Personality, bullies the weak, fears the strong, opportunistic. Skill, create living corpse. Description, a survivor of a dying tribe. Bears a noble bloodline. Jihad is a goblin who has lived for centuries. Because his level is low, most of his power is sealed. Seeing the figure before him, he screamed in terror. Why is it you? Disgust immediately showed on his face. This thing is my guardian? Do-hyun began to daydream. It should have been cool and powerful like the other guardians. Never mind that. Jihad fell to his knees in despair. I can't believe I have to be a servant to a filthy human. Seeing that, he felt a bit annoyed. A goblin that only complains about its fate. The more he looked, the more contemptuous he felt. Bullying the weak, fearing the strong, and opportunistic. What kind of monstrous traits are these? No sooner had he thought that than the system appeared. The loyalty of Guardian Jihad Black is very low. Due to Jihad Black's nature, if loyalty is too low, he may betray you. Be careful. After reading it, he couldn't help widening his eyes and muttering, "That's insane." Seeing that cowardly look, Do-hyun clicked his tongue in contempt. With that attitude, I can't leave him be. Thinking that, he stepped forward into the terrified stare. Seeing Do-hyun stare at him, Jihad asked accusingly, "What? You human brat?" Hearing that, he frowned in displeasure. "How dare you call your master a human?" Do-hyun angrily shoved his face close and repeated the words in a low growl. Intimidation crashed down, making Jihad's face crumple in terror. He let out a dark laugh and cracked his knuckles as a threat. "Your mindset is broken. For every second that passes, I'll give you a beating." Before he could fully understand, a look of doubt appeared on his face. Do-hyun didn't explain, but gave a vicious smile. "It's time to eat some hits." A towering shadow loomed, causing Jihad to fall back onto his, but in fright. The cavern was left with nothing but harsh sounds mixed with his piteous cries. Along with that came a stream of system notifications flashing repeatedly. "You have attacked your guardian. Loyalty 2 100s. Loyalty 3 100s. Loyalty 4 100s. Loyalty 5 100s. Loyalty 6 100s. The sky shifted to a pink dusk. The door to the game room opened. Do-hyun stretched, looked outside, and remarked, "It's starting to get dark." Finished, he left the room and asked, "Mom, is there anything to eat at home?" But all he got was his sister's reply, "Don't ask, there's nothing." Do-hyun turned to look at his world-weary sister on the sofa. His face showed helplessness, and he sighed inwardly. There's nothing to say anymore. Then Do-hyun sat down with a question. "Where's Mom?" She replied tersely, "Mom has an appointment." He asked next, "What are you watching?" She answered, "Go's game." Hearing that, Do-hyun was slightly surprised. "Go's? You play that Go's game too?" She casually replied, "Who doesn't play these days?" That comment shocked Do-hyun enough to exclaim, "Really?" She said, "Yes, I'm already level 71. This news surprised him even more. Wow. Followed by Do-hyun's question, "To reach 71 you must have been grinding like crazy, right?" She kept snacking lazily as she answered, "About 6 months. A friend invited me and said they'd carry me, so I played. I admit this game is pretty fun." Hearing his sister, Do-hyun thought to himself, 6 months? Does it really take that long to get to level 70? Then she teased him right back, "Because I don't grind 10 hours a day like some people." This time Do-hyun was truly at a loss for words and didn't reply. At that moment, a news report played on the TV. Next was a segment about the Hero Guild. His attention immediately shifted. "I know that guild," Do-hyun's sister explained to him. "They're the hottest group among young people right now. In terms of fame, they're not behind my also." Hearing that, he became more curious. But why? Aren't they outside the top 10? The answer turned out to be very simple. Because they're handsome, of course. On Go's TV screen now was Hero Guild leader Verse. She propped her chin and added lazily, "Even if some guys like my also, most girls still adore the Hero Guild." Hearing that, Do-hyun immediately sneered. He looks like a pampered rich kid. By contrast, his sister was utterly smitten. "Look at his face. It's the perfect mix of masculinity and boyish charm. His level is on a different plane than yours," he muttered resentfully. "With that pufferfish face, you have no right to say that." Fed up, Do-hyun got up to leave. "Fine, I'm going to exercise." Unexpectedly, his sister suddenly remarked, "No wonder his YouTube channel is popular with a face like that." His steps faltered, and he asked, "New tube?" Trying to seem indifferent, she still answered his question. "These days, every guild does new YouTube. Some even get hundreds of millions of views." Do-hyun's eyes widened, and his jaw dropped in astonishment. Hundreds of millions of views? Then he must be making a fortune, right? Her excitement at his reaction made her nervous. That number was beyond his imagination. A billion. How many fried chickens could you buy with that? Then he wandered off half absent-mindedly repeating, "A billion, a billion." She called after him worriedly, "Hey, are you okay?" But Do-hyun wandered into his room in a daze. 1 billion. 1 billion. Then the door to the room gently closed. Do-hyun's sister frowned in confusion. What's up with him? He looked so weird. System notifications rang as Do-hyun reconnected to the game. ID verification confirmed. Synchronization complete. Connecting to the world of God of Savior. Goes. Do-hyun has logged into the game. He prepared to record. "I'll record this just in case. You never know when this footage might be useful." Jihad rubbed his eyes and stepped out of the black circle. "You're in." Jihad rubbed his eyes and stepped out of the black circle. "You're in." His annoyed tone made Jihad flustered as he hurriedly explained, "No, master." Du Hyun reminded him, "It's fine. Call me whatever makes you comfortable." Then he tossed him a set of clothes. "You wear this." He added an explanation. "I can't equip it myself right now anyway, and you need something to cover yourself." Suddenly the system announced, "Loyalty decreased by 2. Jihad gave a terrifying smile and replied, "Because my master bestowed clothes upon me, Jihad shall be a free entity." Seeing him like that, Du Hyun glared angrily. Pressure radiated heavily. What? Realizing his move was wrong, Jihad nervously backpedaled. "Oh no, my lord, thank you very much." System displayed. Loyalty increased by 2. Seeing him, Du Hyun looked full of disgust and thought, "Is this loyalty stat a rubber band or something that stretches like that?" Putting the garment on, Jihad spoke. "Master, where shall we go now?" Remembering the task, Du Hyun snapped back to attention and looked ahead. "We have to run." Those words left Jihad stunned. Then the agonized screams of monsters rang out. The scene was full of slain monsters. System messages chimed continuously. "You have slain the red goblin in the forest. You have defeated the giant spider." Looking at the corpses of the defeated monsters, Jihad felt some pity for them. How pitiful they are. Then he glanced at Du Hyun, who was frantically killing monsters. "Why pick on anyone else when you run into this demon?" Then he glanced at Du Hyun, who was frantically killing monsters. "Why pick on anyone else when you run into this demon?" Du Hyun sat down to rest while waiting for Jihad to run over, and he quickly assigned him a task. "Put all those items we just picked up in one place, and try creating something from them." He obediently complied. "Yes, understood." "Put all those items we just picked up in one place, and try creating something from them." He obediently complied. "Yes, understood." He stepped closer to a nearby monster. Then a wave of dark energy rose, and Jihad began to chant, "Gram Mogul Shugra." The monster was enveloped by a surge of energy, its soul seemingly drained. Seeing that, Du Hyun was somewhat impressed. System notification. Guardian Jihad Black has successfully turned the forest red goblin into an undead. Seeing that, Du Hyun was somewhat impressed. System notification. Guardian Jihad Black has successfully turned the forest red goblin into an undead. He gave him a compliment. Not bad. In Du Hyun's head he thought, that will definitely come in handy later. Then Jihad continued to say something to the red goblins. They obeyed and ran off at once. Seeing that, Du Hyun asked in confusion, "Where are they going?" Jihad answered with a proud smile on his face. "I ordered them to go pick up items." Hearing that, his gaze toward him grew only more disdainful, already ordering them around to do chores. However, he quickly dismissed the petty thought and calculated, "Oh well, I wonder when I'll reach level 2. I wish a few elite monsters would show up." Unexpectedly, new information was provided. Elite monsters? If you mean those high-tier ones, I know where they are, master. Du Hyun jumped and asked, "What?" He then explained seriously, "Those guys do nothing all day, they just gather in one spot." Hearing that, Du Hyun's attitude changed drastically. His smile grew excited. All those elite monsters are concentrated in one place. The sky above the forest was a clear, bright blue. The elite monsters had already gathered in one spot. Jihad and Du Hyun were hiding to one side. "What do you think? Master, is that them?" "Do you grinecitedly?" Looking at the monsters before him, he couldn't help but wonder, how are there so many of them? A notification conveniently appeared. Emergency Quest, Warriors Challenge. Rank, Emergency Quest. Rewards, 100 gold, a large amount of experience, 1 intermediate skill reset ticket. Duration, 48 hours. Reading that, Du Hyun scoffed inwardly. An intermediate skill reset ticket? This run has to be completed. The elite monsters quickly detected his presence. Du Hyun on this side wasted no time and rushed forward. The corner of his mouth curled into a smile. "Hey, you lot." The red goblin immediately prepared to retaliate. It swung its sword down with force. Du Hyun easily dodged and even counterattacked. The red goblin snarled menacingly, but in the end it took a full blow to the face. Blood spurted from its nose. The red goblin rolled backward several times out of reflex. Du Hyun's slaughter was just beginning. He swept through the monsters like a gust of wind while activating backstab. System lines immediately appeared. Caused bleeding status. The moment Du Hyun stopped, the monsters fell to the ground. From the opposite side, the silhouette of a red goblin ran up. Du Hyun met its attack head-on. Then he reached behind him and drew his weapon. The red goblin's face showed surprise. Du Hyun immediately kicked it to the ground. The The red goblin vomited blood after taking the hit. At that moment, he touched the hilt and swiftly drew his sword. The red goblin let out a threatening roar. However, that meant nothing to Do-hyun. He struck a killing blow. Do-hyun's expression didn't change, while the red goblin writhed in agony. Its limp body fell from the bushes to the ground. Jihad watched and thought to himself, terrifying. He could hardly believe his eyes. I saw him back in the western forest, but that guy can't be ordinary. Horror spread across Jihad's face as he looked at Do-hyun. He's a fiend, a true demon. He stabbed his sword hard into the ground. Do-hyun looked around and mumbled, the warriors are pretty much cleared out. Maybe it's time for him to show himself. Unexpectedly, another monster's silhouette appeared in the distance, accompanied by a few system lines. You have encountered a hidden boss. Great warrior Goblin Karuk. But Do-hyun wore an evil grin. Here we go, my loot bag. But Do-hyun wore an evil grin. Here we go, my loot bag. But Do-hyun wore an evil grin. Here we go, my loot bag. He lifted the sword in his hand. Do-hyun wasted no time and immediately charged at his opponent. They fought with life or death intensity. From afar, Jihad anxiously shouted, Don't! He's too much for Master. He kindly warned, just graze him and your sword will be shattered. The great warrior Goblin Karuk launched a brutal strike. Do-hyun's gaze showed not even the slightest flicker of hesitation. Karuk raised the axe high, then brought it down with tremendous force. Surprisingly, it failed to wound Do-hyun. Even the hiding Jihad was taken aback. At that moment, Do-hyun was parrying its attack. A gratified smile spread across his face. This unsettled it. It roared and struck again. The hand holding Do-hyun's weapon began to move. He didn't let it attack. He preemptively struck. What followed was a rapid series of high-speed attacks. Jihad couldn't believe his eyes and kept asking, What is happening before me? He watched the scene in astonishment. The question kept forming. Parrying. A note about the parry skill. Parry, a skill that deflects an opponent's attack. It can fail if mistimed. Although it's the swordsman's sole defensive skill, it's famed as far superior to ordinary tier skills. When conditions are met, it's an overpowered technique that can even nullify legendary skills. The skill also has a drawback, but because its success rate is extremely low, almost no one dares use it in real combat. On his side, Do-hyun thought with pleasure. Parry succeeded. I didn't expect this to come from a low-tier gacha pull. A system message appeared. Karuk continues his brutal assault, followed by an explosion. Before Karuk could process it, Do-hyun appeared behind him. Only then did Karuk turn his head back. A smile was on Do-hyun's face. Karuk's skill. It emitted a cry of surprise. Jihad's eyes went wide in shock. In the blink of an eye, Do-hyun decapitated Karuk. You have defeated the hidden boss, Great Warrior Goblin Karuk. This achievement was recorded in the adventure log. Following were system messages. Congratulations on completing the Warrior's Challenge. Rewards, 200 gold, a large amount of experience, 2 intermediate skill draw tickets, and Karuk's outfit. He was so surprised he cried out, Oh my, he's really dead. And I even got 2 draw tickets. Do-hyun was so excited he jumped up and down on the spot. Jihad stood aside, wincing, and thought, Here we go again. He began to compare. In battle, he looks like a demon, yet when it comes to gacha draws, it's always the same. Jihad, seeing Do-hyun's change in attitude, had to ask himself, why does he suddenly act like an idiot? On this side, he was operating the system. A slew of skills appeared. Information about the skills appeared one after another. Skill, Soaring Dragon Kick, Rarity, Rare. Requirement, Martial Artist. Effect, deals massive damage with the leg. Cooldown, 21 seconds. Skill, Heavy Strike, Rank Rare. Requirement, Support. Increases physical attack by 40% for 40 seconds. Cooldown, 40 seconds. A skill for the brawny types dropped. Heavy Strike. Regarding this skill, it's the core move for muscle-focused fighters. It lasts 40 seconds, and its cooldown is also 40 seconds, so it's effectively a permanent power boost. Additionally, it turns an ordinary sword into something with the impact of a greatsword. Reading this, Do-hyun was so excited he covered his face. Amazing, this is seriously top tier. An assassin can self-sustain and solo fight, and it even comes with the Soaring Dragon Kick. I wanted to try this move for a long time. It looks so cool. Perfect, everything is great. It didn't stop there. The system continued with more notifications. Unnamed item, Karuk's red leather jacket. Crafted from the hide of the Great Warrior Goblin Karuk. Heroic grade, Karuk's red leather pants. Made from the durable hide of Karuk himself. Heroic grade. Below were a few other items. Blue-red Karuk shoulder armor. Shoulder pads crafted from the great warrior Karuk's hide. Rare plus grade. Karuk's essence ring. A ring containing Karuk's distilled power. Heroic grade. Reading this, Do Hyun remarked, "Finally I can take off that ripped goblin outfit." He wasted no time and equipped the gear. A system notification appeared with a flash as the equipment changed. You have equipped the full blue-red Great Warrior set. Set effects. AoE range plus 10%. Melee damage plus 6.5%. All stats plus B. Do Hyun excitedly looked at himself and commented, "Although the colors are a bit flashy, this looks way cooler, right?" Jihad quickly chimed in, "It suits you very well, Master." Then he stepped closer, grimaced, and said, "Master, sometimes you scare me." Do Hyun welcomed the remark enthusiastically. "You think so too?" He proudly added, "Even I get scared of myself. Who knows how far I'll go?" Jihad was left speechless by Do Hyun's extreme vanity. "I'm truly a real man." He sighed inwardly and thought, "This lunatic." Just from that thought, a notification appeared. Loyalty decreased by 1. Do Hyun immediately looked at him and questioned, "What was that just now? Did you just insult me in your head?" Jihad vigorously denied it. "Of course not, Master." However, he adopted a threatening tone. "Try stepping out of line, and you'll be dead for sure." Jihad stammered with a nervous smile, "Why yes, Master." Loyalty increased by 1. Only then did Do Hyun, reluctantly, let out a sigh. He sheathed his weapon and began to move. "Let's go." Jihad beside him couldn't contain his curiosity. "Where are we going?" Do Hyun gave a simple answer. "It's boss hunting time." He nodded and casually agreed. "Since we've taken down one great warrior, killing a few more won't hurt." Yet no sooner had he finished that sentence than Jihad sensed something was off. On Do Hyun's side, he was reading the lines of notifications that appear before him. To advance to the next city, you must clear the continent's challenge. Field Sun Boss, Challenge Level 1. Requirement: Reach Level 24. Eliminate Spider Queen Eliza. 0/1. Their next stop was the area where Spider Queen Eliza spawns in the Western Forest. Other players had already gathered here. "I wonder when she'll show up." "Probably in about 10 minutes. Small groups kept discussing among themselves. "Where will she reveal herself this time? I heard last time she appeared on the Eastern Web, right?" They're all carefully observing the terrain ahead. "So maybe this time it'll be west or north." By now Do Hyun and Jihad had arrived as well. He looked down at him and asked, "I'll ask straight. Do you actually know where the boss will appear?" Jihad didn't hide it and answered honestly, "No, Master. This boss is from a new generation, so even I don't know much about it." Hearing that, Do Hyun let out an exasperated sigh. "Yet you said you knew everything about this forest before." He seemed unconcerned by this disappointed tone. Do Hyun was also making his own calculations. "So, where will it appear?" He studied the terrain and thought, "No matter where it shows up, I'll just rush in and use backstab." At that moment, system messages suddenly appeared. Activated talent, Slayer. The location of Spider Queen Eliza has been revealed. A red silhouette of the Spider Queen appeared on the ground, startling Do Hyun. What? He couldn't help but be puzzled. "I don't have a Slayer title for spiders, do I?" But he quickly reasoned to himself, "Wait a second, could it be that it doesn't only apply to bosses I've killed, but works on all kinds of bosses?" But Do Hyun didn't waste time pondering. "Whatever, it's not important right now." An inhuman smile curled at the corner of his mouth. "What matters is I can monopolize this boss using backstab." A blue light now appeared on the ground. From the darkness emerged the shape of a fat, wailing spider. "Eliza, Eliza." In an instant, Do Hyun appeared behind it. "You have encountered Spider Queen Eliza." He looked at his opponent with undisguised excitement. Didn't expect that move to actually work. Jihad beside him was so surprised he asked, "Master, how could you do that?" Do Hyun lazily replied, "Long story." His focus was fully on the opponent before him. "Consider this a free kill." But Do Hyun stared at Eliza and commented, "This big one is really bulky." Spider Queen Eliza. Title: Field Elite Boss. Species: Spider. Traits: Steel Web, Deadly Poison, Spider Sense. It let out a threatening roar and lunged forward. The cry made him grimace in annoyance. As it leapt, it kept shouting, "Eliza, Eliza, Eliza." Meanwhile, Do Hyun retreated. He moved and used backstab. In an instant, Do Hyun vanished from Eliza's sight. It cried out in surprise, "Eek!" From behind, the silhouette of a dragon appeared. Do Hyun launched an attack using Soaring Dragon Kick. Thanks to the set effect, Damage was increased by 6%. Eliza was struck so hard her eyes went wide. He focused entirely on her. When that strike finished, Eliza fell to the ground. Do-hyun wasted no time and immediately lunged to attack. Eliza flinched and let out a dry cry. But Do-hyun slid past her with high-speed slashes. His foot skidded along the ground. Then Do-hyun gathered momentum and charged at Eliza again. The system announced, "You're using the enhancement skill. Attack power has increased." He accelerated and attacked Eliza. This time fear was faintly visible on her face. "Eliza," the system announced, "you used Soaring Dragon Kick again." The figure of a golden dragon appeared once more. Eliza took a full kick to the forehead and collapsed. She was in such pain she spewed blood. Eliza slammed hard into the ground. Jihad had been hiding the whole time. In his mind he thought, "Good heavens, pity whoever faces that demon." Do-hyun stood still, looking at Eliza lying flattened before him. She turned her glossy eyes toward him and called out, "Eliza." A murderous gleam flashed in his eyes. I don't even know what the name Eliza means. But Do-hyun had plenty of patience to force an explanation. "Let's see how long you can keep your mouth shut." Realizing this human wasn't joking, Eliza screamed even louder. "Eliza." Jihad watched Eliza take the blows without daring to breathe. In his head, he had only one thought. "Master, this is cruel." Do-hyun hadn't finished beating her yet. "Eliza? Eliza." Then Jihad suddenly froze as if remembering something. "Eliza. This name sounds familiar." His mouth dropped open as he realized. Jihad then intervened. "Master, stop." He ran with all his might toward Do-hyun to restrain him. "Wait. Master, please stop." This urgency puzzled him. "What's wrong?" Jihad ran to Eliza's side and asked anxiously, "Eliza, it's me. Open your eyes and look." Eliza forced herself to look at him and replied, "Yeah." He removed his hood and continued, "Eliza, it's me. Don't you recognize me?" Tears welled in Eliza's eyes. Eliza. The story went back 150 years. Back then, Jihad was taller than he is now. While he was moving, he heard a voice call, "Liza." Jihad looked at Eliza and remarked, "There's something strange about this spider, isn't there?" Eliza stared at him and called, "Liza." Jihad's attention was fixed on her. "How can a spider like this exist?" He smiled and suggested, "Hey, want to come with me?" Eliza cried out excitedly. Her glossy eyes stared at the other. "Li-ya," Jihad replied gently. "Liza, that's your name?" A crooked smile spread across his face. "But calling you El sounds a bit ordinary. How about we call you Eliza?" Eliza was so delighted by the name, she jumped up. Liza. Jihad gave a wry laugh and patiently explained, "Not it's Eliza. Eliza." But his words were like water off a duck's back. Jihad had no choice. "Fine, suit yourself. I'll call you Eliza." Then he reached for his cloak. "Eliza, today I have to go on an errand alone." This declaration made Eliza tilt her head in confusion. Jihad refused. "No, that place is still too dangerous for you." She could only watch him leave. At the door, Jihad didn't forget to call back. "All right then, I'm off." Eliza had been staring at him the whole time. All right. But the story ended sadly. That owner never returned. Time passed. Dusk fell. The moon rose bright, then set, and the sun began a new day. 1 year passed, 10 years passed, 100 years passed. She waited tirelessly for her master, until the little hut slowly rotted with time. A momentous decision was finally made. Eliza decided to head to the western forest to find the place where she and her master first met. Throughout that journey, she kept repeating the name he gave her so she wouldn't forget. Until now, there was a moving reunion. "Eliza, Liza." Do-hyun stood to one side and asked coolly, "So in short, you abandoned Eliza?" His words made Jihad freeze. But then the two lunged into each other's arms and sobbed again. "Eliza, Liza." Another question arose. "But why did you have to hide?" "Not for a few years, but for 150 years. This time Jihad explained softly, "I can't disclose that. Master, it's beyond my current capability." This answer puzzled him. "What do you mean by that?" But he explained once more, "I'm sorry, Master." That serious expression made Do-hyun unable to disbelieve. He sighed and looked around. So what should we do next?" "This is the final mission, so I can't abandon it halfway." Jihad frowned in agreement. "That's right, Master." At that moment, Eliza spoke again. Liza." He immediately looked toward her. "What is it?" Eliza's expression changed. Hearing that, Jihad couldn't help but be surprised. What? What do you mean by that? You try to stop it? No, absolutely not. However, Eliza insisted. Do Hyun interrupted, puzzled. Hey, what's going on? Jihad put on a dangerous expression and explained, it's asking me to finish off the master. That suggestion startled him. She continued laying out her plan to Jihad. But Jihad raised a hand to stop her. No way. The spider had reached its limit. It bit its jaws together hard, sending sparks of venom spraying outward. This sudden action made Jihad start and exclaim, Eliza! The system sent a notification. Queen Spider Eliza has entered a critical poison state. Health has fallen below 10%. Watching that move, he assessed inwardly. What is going on? Looking at her sorrowful expression, Jihad asked, Eliza, what are you doing? Her mouth made low, moaning sounds as if trying to say something, and tears welled in her eyes as she spoke. After a few seconds' thought, Jihad turned to him and decided, Master, stab her quickly. This suggestion made him pause. What? Jihad said decisively. She's urging the master to stab her. There's no time left. He hesitated. Is doing that really okay? Jihad's tone grew urgent. For now. Trust her. Hurry, master. Hearing that, he drew his sword without hesitation. All right, if that's what she wants. He raised the sword high. I'll cut. He delivered a decisive slash, sending sprays of blue blood flying. The system continuously notified, you have defeated the field boss Queen Eliza. The achievement was recorded in the adventure log. Multiple effects activated. All stats increased by 6 points. Staring at the spider collapsing on the ground, he wondered, is that the proper procedure? Jihad beside him nodded. Yes, master. Then something small appeared on the spider's head, surprising them both. At that moment, a tiny spider appeared before them, crying out, Eliza, Eliza. The system now notified. You have found hidden bug Eliza, the parasite on the queen spider. The affinity between Jihad and Eliza has reached maximum. Do you want to recruit her as Jihad's subordinate? Reading the notification, he thought, so it's a parasitic monster. I encountered bosses like this back in Demrock before. They're special eyes that live attached to other creatures. These ones are hard to kill in a single encounter, constantly switching hosts to survive, giving players a huge headache to deal with. And yet one of them actively followed me. The little girl was overjoyed as Jihad picked her up. The system sent a notification. Jihad's subordinate list includes Eliza. Suddenly, I have another guardian. This isn't so bad. Thinking it over, the name Jihad actually suits him, good at looting and obedient. He also finds hidden areas like this. He put on an excited expression. Truly my lucky star. Seeing his gaze fixed on her, Jihad jumped, worried. What the hell is this? Why does chill down my spine? Then, the little Eliza jumped out of Jihad's hands and quickly leapt onto Do Hyun's shoulder to the astonishment of both of them. She chirped, Eliza, Eliza, as if trying to say something. Jihad beside them began to translate. She says thank you very much to the master. He smiled in reply. I see. The little girl continued. Eliza, Eliza. Jihad continued translating. She wants to repay you. Master, she says to follow her. He asked curiously, repay me? Eliza kept waving her arms as if trying to say something. Eliza, Eliza. After that, the three of them pressed deeper into the cave. Eliza pointed ahead with her foot, repeating, Eliza, Eliza. Jihad translated. She says we're almost there, master. Before long, they reached a cavern filled with spider eggs. The system notified. You have discovered a new secret location, the queen spider's nest. Staring at the countless purple eyes watching them, he shuddered. An egg nursery? At his arrival, the spiders emitted strange calls as if communicating. The system notified. Title acquired. Field boss handler. He was startled inwardly. They're all field bosses? Right. The graduation quest requires defeating field bosses. So field boss doesn't just mean Eliza. Using the original main objective of capturing Eliza, the system notified. Hunt field bosses. Challenge level 1. Description. Reward rank is based on field boss hunting performance. Requirement. Defeat the queen spider Eliza to complete. Level requirement. 24. Defeat queen spider Eliza 0/1. Reward tiers D to S. Anyway, the only field boss here is Eliza. He stared at the system's score metric. It would determine the reward tier. The key issue is how impressively he can finish Eliza. He scanned the area and decided. So what if I just wipe them all out? The corner of his mouth lifted in an excited smile. Killing intent radiated from him. He tightened his grip on the sword. Let's see what the result will be. Without hesitation, he charged straight forward to confront the vicious spiders. They didn't stay still either. They lunged at him, preparing to attack. Then a loud explosion went off inside the cavern. He then frenziedly hacked and slashed at everything. He swung his sword wildly, cutting down all the spiders around him. Watching from outside, Eliza's eyes filled with tears as she saw her companion slaughtered, as if trying to say something. Jihad beside him nodded in agreement. That's right. Master is insanely strong. Bodies of spiders kept falling to the ground. After eliminating them all, he let out a gentle sigh of relief. The system sent a notification. You have completed Challenge 1, Hunt Field Bosses. Recorded, 1 hidden field boss and 34 regular field bosses defeated. You have successfully passed Challenge 1. Score, 1,471 points. Established a new S-rank record. First person to achieve S-rank in Challenge 1. You're number 1 on the leaderboard. Awarded the title first to achieve S-rank. Awarded the title Outstanding Graduate. Activated effect from the time attack thrown. +5 to all stats. He received countless system rewards, and his eyes lit up with excitement. Awesome. This feels incredible. The little Eliza jumped onto his shoulder, chirping, Eliza, Eliza, as if trying to say something. The little Eliza hopped onto his shoulder, calling Eliza, Eliza, as if wanting to say something. Jihad then translated. Master, Eliza says she still hasn't given her repayment gift yet. So he turned to the little girl with a surprised look. She flailed her limbs, babbling something. Jihad continued translating. The gift is really over there, Master. He followed Jihad's pointing. The system now notified. Truth Eye skill automatically activated. He discovered something on the cliff wall, emitting a mysterious purple glow. The system notified. You have found a destiny fragment. He was a little confused, thinking inwardly, a destiny fragment? Outside. After forming their party, they were now standing before some cave. The group buzzed with chatter. Is this the right spot? Another replied, definitely. I've scouted other places for the record, but found nothing. This is the only place left. The blonde youth pointed into the cave and shouted, everyone, don't be nervous. Just do what we practiced. Kill Eliza, then meet at Brian, folks. The people behind responded excitedly. Let's go for it. The people further back responded enthusiastically. Let's go for it. It hasn't even shown its face yet. Who already killed it? Which guild got him before us? We were the first to arrive here. A young man looked at the notice board and then told everyone, look at this. The live leaderboard just updated. The latest achievement of the top ranker is defeating Queen Spider Eliza. They continued to analyze. Maybe it's hacks? What's his name? Is that nickname his ID? The pale young man began checking the name. Seems like Kai. Back in the scene, one guy was now holding a red gem shard in his hand. After observing for a moment, he judged. So using this shard will trigger the inheritance of Destiny quest, right? Jihad beside him chuckled. Congrats, Master. You're finally done being unemployed. You're a real adventurer now. He didn't answer and remained lost in thought. Seeing that, the second-in-command worriedly asked, why do you look so miserable, Master? Eliza on his head also let out chirps as if checking in. He replied wearily, I just have a bad feeling about this reward. This made Jihad startle. Oh my, Master. Look at the reward for these quests. The system now announced the reward, Cassier's relic. He tried to explain, that relic. Finally, you get a top-tier item like everyone else. He pointed at the notice board and shouted back, but don't you see the risk of failure? You lose everything and get stripped of your career. Then you're just a free NPC. He thought to himself, then all my efforts up to now would be for nothing. But then he suddenly realized something. Wait a moment. If I genuinely become unemployed, what will happen to you? At this, Jihad broke into a cold sweat. What? He shouted back. Are you doubting my loyalty? No, Master. At that moment, the system notified. Loyalty increased by 15. You think I'm urging you to fail so I can run off when you're ruined? Surely Eliza on his head also let out chirps as if wanting to explain. Immediately after, a loud scream of pain echoed through the cave because he had just thrashed him. The system now notified. Jihad's loyalty +1. Looking at the system screen describing the mission. Overcome the trials to prove you are worthy to inherit Cassier's will. He thought inwardly. Trials? Well, if I can handle steel, I can handle these. Fine, let's play out. On the system screen before him, Do you agree to accept the quest? Confirm. He didn't hesitate and confirmed. Whatever monsters show up on the system screen, I'll smash them to pieces. The system notified. The Destiny Challenge has begun. Everything started when I pulled the Cassiar card from a hidden item. At that moment, in a church, a bishop's fearful voice rang out. Cassiar? You say you're a messenger of Cassiar? He bowed and saluted. Yes, that's me. If you grant your blessing, I'll save this village. Before he could finish speaking, a bucket of cold water was dumped straight onto his face. He shouted angrily, What the hell are you doing? The man retorted, Shut up, you worthless messenger of Cassiar. How dare you bring that filthy body into this holy place? I revoke the request. He shouted back in anger. Hey, give back my reward. Then go wherever you want. The man turned and slammed the door. There's no reward for people like you. Get out. Although annoyed, he had to turn and leave. I wonder if that Cassiar guy extorts people. It's infuriating. He thought to himself. Every time those priests hear the name Cassiar, they go berserk. He then sat in the monastery courtyard, eating bread while studying the system board. So, I need to review the job description carefully. God of War Cassiar, the god of Abtartle, the only god even other gods fear. Reading further, he realized, oh, other gods really do fear him. So to the priests, he's nothing less than a demon. When I accepted the quest, I assumed at most a pack of elite monsters would show up. But it seems I was very wrong. Back in the present, a solid iron weight dropped with a thud behind him. Startled, he turned and said, Oh my God, that scared me. Then swords flew straight at Jihad and Eliza one after another. He cried out in fear, What the hell is this? Weapons rained down from the sky like a storm. Then he warned, Look over there, master. He followed Jihad's gaze. What now? Jihad's voice trembled with fear. Something's happening. The system notified. God of War Cassiar is awakening from a seal. Stand firm for 5 minutes. Looking at the magic circle before him, he muttered. That is, from the magic circle, Cassiar's body slowly materialized, making him flinch. The system sent a red alert. Cassiar is awakening. The professional mission officially begins. He narrowed his eyes and assessed. Not an elite or mythical monster, but the real one has appeared. Survive for 5 minutes. He immediately drew his weapon. Well, that's fine, as long as I don't die within 5 minutes, right? If it's just about surviving, I can probably do it. Staring into Cassiar's cold eyes as he stood before him, a sudden fear gripped him. What is this? What's this pressure? I can't move at all. His whole body was bound by spiritual chains, as if iron shackles held him tight. Cassiar slowly advanced toward his position. Jihad warned, Master, prepare to fight. Eliza also cried out. Eliza, Eliza. Seeing him still standing there, Jihad panicked. Master, it's over. You're completely frozen, Master. He couldn't understand what was happening. What the hell is this? Why won't the hero trait activate? The system now notified. Trait disabled. This is not an abnormal state. Looking at Cassiar, standing before him like a monster, he feared. It doesn't need to use skills or effects. His presence alone is this terrifying? Sensing something was wrong, Jihad immediately turned and ran. Eliza, run fast. Master is done for. Eliza also cried out in fear. Eliza, Eliza. Seeing the two kids run made him furious. You mean I'm frozen in fear by a pile of virtual data? He then threw his head back and screamed into the sky in rage. This caused both Jihad and Cassiar to turn their gazes back to him, because he had just broken free from the control of the chains. The corner of his mouth lifted into an excited smile. Hey, I've worked so hard to get here. Why would I be afraid of him? That said, his whole body was trembling violently. Jihad wondered, Master, if you're not afraid, why are your legs shaking so bad? Interrupted, he snapped back angrily. Shut up, you. I'm doing a cool act. The kid replied fearfully, got it, Master. Keep it up. Then he turned to Cassiar and said, Hey, War God Cassiar, the skills you gave me run pretty smoothly, but isn't the failure penalty for this inheritance of destiny quest a bit excessive? He continued to scold. How can losing once strip someone completely bare like that? I know arguing about it now is pointless, but I'm really frustrated. Do you know that? His emotions shifted rapidly. Do you know how much grinding I had to do to get all this gear? Do you? From behind, Jihad assessed again. Eliza, Master has gone mad. He clenched his fist in determination. Just got a great skill and top-tier gear. Thought my gamer life would turn a page. But then, once again his words were cut off. Master, stop standing around yapping and fight. What are you doing? He raised a hand to warn. Quiet, brother. 1 minute left. Only then did the kid realize his plan. Oh, so you're rambling to stall for time, Master. Your cunning is a shining example for goblins. Come on, Master, use that smooth tongue of yours to buy us some more time. Maybe then we can survive this. But then seeing him suddenly dash forward, the boy panicked. What the hell are you doing, Master? He stared at the opponent and evaluated. Now's the moment. While he's careless, I'll circle behind and strike. Maybe killing Cassiar hides a secret reward. He immediately activated the rear approach skill. This move was not outside Cassiar's expectations. The god merely smirked. Then he reached behind, grabbed his neck like he was holding an ant. Fear showed in his eyes. This move has no effect. Even so, Cassiar immediately seized him and slammed him hard into the ground, shattering the earth into fragments. From behind, Jihad screamed in terror, Master! The recent blow left his eyes blank, and he spat several mouthfuls of blood.